This is the knockout artist, Kris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Hey guys, it's N.W.A and welcome to True Heel Heat.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion, once a champion, always a champion, Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our AEW Dynasty 2025 review, discussing last night's pay-per-view from All Elite Wrestling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the Young Bucks have returned and screwed Swerve Strickland out of the AEW World Championship, with Jon Moxley retaining. And boy, oh boy, has that gotten a reaction from the fans. So we're going to discuss it all with you today. And I am joined by my esteemed colleagues. First up, we got my main man that we talk New Japan Pro Wrestling content here on the YouTube channel, here True Heel Heat. He is the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here for us at THH, but he's been dabbling in the AEW reviews and previews as well. My main man, Jay News. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It was a long night last night. It seems like TK went out of his way to spend some extra money on some extra time on pay-per-view. So props to him on that. But good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good brother Jay News. We're back at it again here on True Heel Heat, talking all that AEW goodness, if you want to call it that.
That is the right way to address it.
But yeah, man, I think we all have, to quote a term, I think we all have feelings right now about what happened last night. And let's start off the show there.
And we are joined by my main man as well. You see him over at the N.W.A podcast. You see his work at Post Wrestling. He is the professor when it comes to his wrestling knowledge and wrestling media. And when he's here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, he's always got an opinion, whether it be WWE, AEW, and beyond. He is Dr. Ely, aka Professor Kris. How are you doing?
Man, chilling. I see. I was counting on UJ News and USIT to get me into a positive wrestling space. Before we review the show, I do have to say, it's not that I hated the pay-per-view last night. It was just a waste of my goddamn time, especially with the outcome of it. And I guess we will at the main event outcome rather. And I guess we'll process it. I guess we'll chop it up. I guess this will be therapeutic for me this fine morning. I'm ditching my teaching job at Fullerton to be here. I'm doing that on Zoom today. So Jesus Christ.
But yes, we're gonna help you through the I guess understanding and and getting through what we went through as wrestling fans last night, as we always do here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Just drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here, and of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, hear your thoughts on last night's AEW Dynasty 2025 show, the pay-per-view, and everything in between. It's a lot to discuss. It's a lot to discuss and a lot to wrap our head around what AEW gave us, especially the ending to the show. So we're going to talk it all through as a family, as a community here. And if you're feeling generous, you want to get back to what you do here, you want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel and our coverage of All Elite Wrestling, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate the support, and that is the best way to have your comment highlighted on screen. No matter what you say, if you send a super chat, it will be highlighted for sure. We try to highlight as many of your comments as possible, but the best way to do that is by sending a super chat donation or being a member of the channel, like our good brother I Make Beats. He says, what's happening, THH? Great pay-per-view overall. Hope everyone is good. I'm glad I Make Beats has a positive mindset, because some people, if AEW makes a decision that upsets people so much, they tend to forget if the show is good or not. It's just how you leave them sometimes. So
right, yeah, exactly.
It was a great pay-per-view overall. We also got G Loke in the chat joining us to say, hey, T, good to see you, good sir. He says, what it do at THH Maine? Smash that like. Wow, what a set trip with the Bucks. Yes, they were set tripping, if you will, last night. Coming up here.
You're using the gay terminology.
You know, he's a G Loke is our resident Compton Crip in the chat. So we appreciate you, G Loke. We got Derek Edmonds who says, stay calm, SP3. I'm calm. I literally stood up till 5:30 in the morning here in the UK watching the show, then had to stay up an extra 2.5 hours reviewing the show with Alex Pulowski over on Fightful Select for Sour Grabs, and yeah, I slept for 4 hours. Then I was just on Fightful Overbooked talking about the show once again with Jeremy Lambert. And I got a lot of my aggression, a lot of my anger out. I'm still going to have some anger here because I got to keep it real with all of y'all. Y'all the family here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So I will give my thoughts, but I'm not as angry as I was at 6 a.m. the earlier this morning. We got I Make Beats who says, I won't let the ending tarnish the show. I loved it. Yeah, there was things on this show that I loved, so I won't let it completely tarnish what they gave us. But God damn it, Tony, you did it to me again.
Right? Yeah. I'm not gonna let it tarnish my. My thing is, I have to leave the show with a good feeling, you know, and that's all that matters to me. And I didn't leave this show with a good feeling, and we're gonna. I'm still processing. Maybe y'all can talk me off the ledge the other way, but I can't do this all the time with TK. And this was 1 month where I just wasn't in the mood. I just wasn't in the mood for that shit.
Yeah. I totally understand. It was, like I said, it was the main event started 10 minutes before 5 a.m. And I'm just like, okay, just have a 20-minute matchup, please. And then it goes 31 minutes after they just did a 31-minute semi-main event matchup. And it's just like, man, all the faults in the pay-per-view like came crashing down on me. I was like, this is bad card placement. There's certain matches that should have been earlier in the show. There's certain matches that you should have flipped around and done other stuff. You had one of the most unnecessary dusty finishes of all time earlier in the show as well. So it's like all the faults of the pay-per-view, when you leave me like that, it all comes down crashing on me. And it's just like, God damn, how do I feel about this show? And I did not know. I just tweeted out, and people, of course, is upset with me for, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is good. No, it's not. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good heat. This is not good heat. This is not money generating heat. This is I'm pissed off at the booker, not the wrestlers.
Yeah. I understand now why your event attendance is not what it used to be.
Yeah. This is like, okay, now I understand what's going on here. You're just so stubborn, and you're like, la 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 la. I'm right, you're wrong. I don't care what anybody tells me. I don't care what the people I paid to advise me tell me. I don't care what the fans tell me. I'm right, you're wrong. Ninja Mortis says, Swerve said what he said. He ain't gotta apologize to book. No, he doesn't.
That's going to be the headline for N.W.A. next on Sunday. Yeah.
Oh man, fuck Booker T. I was like, God damn it, this is going to get a lot more attention than anything else. We got Maggie in the chat who says, hey, SB3, J News, and Dr. Ely, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. I'm doing well here. We got I Made Beats who says, thank you, SB3, for convincing me Toni was going to beat Megan. I got a near perfect card. Bless you, son. I'm here for you. I'm here with my predictions. Don't you worry. I almost went perfect on the show until the main event.
Yeah.
We got Genesis J in the chat. J News #1 fan is here saying, God bless my EVPs. Raise your legs and pledge for their glory. Gotta go. I know, Genesis J, you gotta work, so we appreciate you sending some love with a super chat donation. Are you and Genesis J on the up and up with this super chat? Are you happy for the EVPs being back and what they did last night, J News?
No, but I will say, it takes a special kind of human being to not only double down, but triple down on the fact that, hey, you hate this and you're going to continue to see it. So you got to give TK props for that. Yeah. Right now my head's kind of in a fuzz, I don't know what to make of the whole entire show. I wanted it all to become clear as we continue to discuss what transpired last night, because I didn't make any bones about anything. I after the show ended, I said to myself, all right, late show, long ass main event, not the ending I wanted. No problem. No problem. Let me sleep on this, and when I wake up, I'll try to figure it out. I only woke up about 2 hours ago. That wasn't necessarily the first thing on my mind, so I don't necessarily know where I'm at with all this right now. So but I answered your question straight off. I'm not with the good homie Genesis J. The Young Bucks yesterday, when the lights went out, I said to myself, okay, it's either the Bucks or it's Jack. I said one of two things, and then when it was the Bucks, I was like, yeah, because I predicted they were going to go back to this elite storyline. I just didn't know how they were going to do it.
Right.
And obviously, here we go. So yeah,
I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah. We got I Made Beats. It says SP3, you are the workhorse YouTuber, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the love you've been showing me in the chat. I appreciate y'all who's been watching all the content. I was over on Fightful Select last night after the show. I was on Fightful main channel earlier today for In the Weeds. So this is the last thing I'm gonna do today, as far as content. And then I can really sleep on it. And finally, I'll have final thoughts on Dynasty on Thursday on AE Ramble with Jimmy, who sent me a gif of a boxer punching their opponent and then punching themselves in the face and said, "This man can't help himself." So that was a perfect response to what happened at the last night. I Made Me says SV3 is like the Matrix, just plugged in to power the YouTube machine. Thank you. That's a great quote right there. We also got here I Made Beast who says 2 mains in a row that could have been fun sprints, but here we are. Yes, 26 minutes for Cope and Mox, 31 minutes for Mox and Swerve.
Yeah.
There we go. And I agree, Kevin. He says every AEW pay-per-view needs to start 5 p.m. That would be so much better. If you're going to do a 5-hour show with the pre-show, start earlier. Please start earlier. That would be very helpful. Especially for me. That's all I care about. It's me.
I mean, it would be one thing if there are all these kind of run-of-the-mill shows that do the exact same thing. After a while, it gets old. And it's really that simple.
Yeah. WrestleScope says Tony Khan is trying to make Mox and the Death Riders into his Roman Reigns and Bloodline. No, he's trying to make it a hodgepodge of the N.W.A. in 1998, 1999. He's trying to make it Planet Jarrett with Jeff Jarrett in TNA mixed with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. It's like all these things that were not good and not very well received, and he's trying to make it all in one.
Right. And I would I know the Bucks haven't been on television in 6 months, but it didn't feel like, oh, I missed these guys when they showed up. You know, it was like, if you're going to do some shit like that, you need to do it with somebody either that's jumping from another company or somebody that you hadn't seen in a while, or just some kind of whoa factor. And the fucking Young Bucks, come on, man. If they book themselves into this, then they think they're more important than they really are.
And this is the thing, like, I have yet to say on social media that this doesn't make sense. It does make sense when you think about the entirety of the story and how the Bucks left, that they could be pulling the strings of all of this, that they could be aligned with it, that the shredding of the paper was, they have paperwork with Jon Moxley, that they sent Jon Moxley after the failed takeover. And I've seen all the Facebook AEW theorists who are saying all that type of stuff. And yeah, it makes a whole bunch of sense. It's just not good. like that's the difference. It could be two things can be true. It could be, this does make sense. It does make storyline sense. Is it what the fans want? No, it's not what the majority of the fans wanted. Two things can be true. That's what people need to realize.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if Superman one day just woke up and said, fuck this shit. Humanity doesn't deserve a hero like me, you know. Makes sense, but that's not compelling fiction, you know.
Yeah. Two things can be true, but yeah, people don't understand that sometimes. Ninja Mortis says it should have been Chain.
Yes, honestly, if it was something like that, I would have been upset Swerve lost, but I would have been like, okay, at least it was a big deal coming, you know, something big that I could like sink my teeth into.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how big and I don't know how many. I know there's some fans out there that want to see Swerve and Hangman team up. I'm just not one of them after he burned down his house and stuck him with a syringe
I think
less than a year ago.
I think you need to I think the audience needs to earn that a little bit more, and they need to earn that too. You know, it's not I'm with you on that, Sid. I don't think you should just be putting them together immediately. There needs to be some kind of like crucible to get them together, you know, and it shouldn't be within a year.
Totally agreed there. But yes, we're gonna break down the card as we usually do. Keep coming with those comments in the live chat. Of course, we appreciate y'all. If you're able to send a super chat donation, make sure your comment is highlighted on screen and show some love to us. As we always do with our pay-per-view reviews here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, we're gonna go around and get one word, one phrase, one sentence to give your overall thoughts on last night's AEW Dynasty. We'll start with you, Professor Kris.
I could have been doing anything else.
That is good. J News, what about you?
I'm gonna go with bothered. That's it.
By the end of the show, like midway through, like after the semi-main event, I was like, all right, we had to get through some stuff, but you had me in the first half, but this is good.
I want to mention something. After the semi-main ended, a lot of the fans had the right idea. A lot of the fans in the building had the right idea. They got up and they left. Right?
Yeah.
They left.
It was like, let me save myself from the disappointment. Let's get up and leave. So yeah, I was like, you had me in the first half because 2 matches earlier, I was very upset, but you got me. You got me. Now I'm here. Thank you. You're going to end it off real good. And then by the end of the main event, I was just like the 50 Cent gif. And I was like, what you saying fuck me for? I was so offended.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it. We're gonna start with the pre-show, which only had 2 matches on the pre-show. First up, you had the Crew. Or no, I'm sorry, not the Crew. There's no article before it. It's just Crew. Leo Rush and Action Andretti, along with Nick Wayne of the Patriarchy, going up against AR Fox and Top Flight with Layla Gray in their corner. This was your prototypical fun multi-man party matchup. Had a slower start, but really picked up when AR Fox got in here and was balling for Philadelphia. Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Daddy Magic were on the call. Andretti took a powder right at the bell. So Fox cleared the top rope and took out Crew with a dive inside the ring. Rush and Andretti gained control with a leg trip neck breaker combo, but Darius made the hot tag, fired off some lightning quick offense, but they isolated Darius for a while before Dante came in, and he was a house of fire for a bit here, showing off his athleticism. Kip Sabian distracted, so Dante cut off Leo, though, who was trying to use the chain that they choked choked him with. After a tug of war, Andretti was in to help his partner hit a double suplex, but Darius broke up the cover. Big AR Fox chance. He finally makes the hot tag, and he hits a corner cannonball, corkscrew brainbuster onto Nick Wayne. He skins the cat and hits a double foot stomp, rolling into a double cutter, a kip up cutter. Then he does 3 top rope clearing dives. He was on fire here. He does the standing, we get a standing Spanish fly from Darius. He hits Fox his low main pain at one point and looks like he's going to get the victory. He goes to the top rope for the 450, but Sabian gets on the apron to distract the referee. So Mother Wayne pushes Fox off the top rope, leading to Nick Wayne hitting Wayne's World for the 1-2-3 to steal the victory here. Super fun matchup to kick off the show. I gave this 3 3/4 stars. That is like one of the better pre-show matches that I've seen from AEW in a while, in recent history. I had a lot of fun with this one. Jay News, what did you think about Crew, Nick Wayne going up against AR Fox and Top Flight?
Not like you said, man. I thought it was real fun. I appreciate the fact that Tony Khan is letting the big homie AR Fox get his shine in the recent weeks. Because God damn it, it's necessary, man. He's earned that shit at the end of the day. And like you said, man, he was balling out there yesterday, man. It was just fun to see him still being in. Obviously, he's one of the most innovative wrestlers that's ever existed. And for him to still continue to innovate while he's performing in the ring live instead of practicing shit is wild to me. You know what I'm saying? So shouts to AR Fox and everybody else involved. Obviously, you had to get Nick Wayne on TV before he goes off to the Best of Super Juniors, for God's sakes. So that was a good shout. Nick Wayne doing his thing, man. Everybody involved, man. Everybody was doing well. I've been on the fence about what they've been doing with this whole crew dynamic. I don't know if it's working. I'm not necessarily know if it's not working. I feel like you still got to give it some time and whatnot with those two guys. So I'm not as decisive with them as of yet. But when it comes to Top Flight, God bless Layla Gray. That's all I got to say. So so that and congrats to her on her marriage. But God bless Layla Gray. So it's
Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun match. I gave it about 3 stars. I was kind of writing my book while this was going on, but I did catch, most of it. You got always have these AEW teams and factions that are there. This is since the infancy of the company that are there. They're just kind of spinning their wheels, but they still put on good matches, and this kind of falls into that category when it comes to Top Flight and that whole dynamic over there. But it was fun and unoffensive.
Yeah, it wasn't like the most noteworthy thing on the show, but a lot of fun in a vacuum. I agree. Next up, though, you had Athena talking about the Owen Hart Cup, and then we went to our final matchup on the 0 hour, which was the Max Caster Open Challenge. And can I just wax lyrically about Max Caster? This has been one of the greatest turnarounds in AEW history. I went from being so much go away heat for this guy. I did not want him on my television towards the end of the Acclaimed, but oh my God, he was so great here as Delusional Loser. Him coming out and getting over the "Let's go, Max, you're the best wrestler alive. Let's go, Max, you're the best wrestler alive." Philly, wait, you're not doing the right cadence. You're not emphasizing the right word. The Philly crowd were behind him, and he still trolled them. He says there's been a lot of names being brought up for this challenge, but the Maximaniacs know there's only one chant the fans want to say. So Caster had to constantly stop them and say they weren't doing it right. Caster told the fans to show up for him, just like they have for other great Philadelphia athletes. He opens his Platinum Max jacket and he's wearing a Ben Simmons jersey. The crowd finally boos him. Caster says the Philly fans aren't as great as the New York ones. This was splendid heel work by Caster, but it set up who was going to answer the challenge. The lights go out, the music starts. You hear Caster being like, "Whose music is this?" Then the video, a video that read 5-2 player shows up, and yes, it is his former tag team partner, Anthony Bowens. He's got pyro, he's got the new music, he's got new ring gear, returning pride of pro wrestling, Anthony Bowens. The only issue here is that he's joined by Billy Gunn. Only issue I had here. He does not need Billy Gunn, but he got a massive ovation here. I was so happy for this guy. I've seen him since the mid to late 2010s on independent shows, most notably for Battle Club Pro, who we used to do sponsorship for. And instantly when I saw him, and he was the first ever Battle Club Pro world champion there, I said he was going to be a star. He has star written all over him, and it looked like finally AEW said the same thing with how he was presented here. Caster points out his trademark for being the best wrestler of live. Bowens ripped it away and chucked it aside. The match officially began. Bowens hits the reverse leg lariat, and then he puts up the scissor and then slaps it down and then hits a big roaring elbow for the 1-2-3. Bowens picks up a victory. Bowens hugs Gunn. Post-match commentary talked about how that was years of frustration behind that elbow, and Anthony Bowen says that he's coming and he's gonna fulfill his potential here. The 5-2 player is here. They need to work on the font of that because it did look like STP and not 5TP. They just need to work at the font, making sure that everybody knows that that's a 5. Other than that, and Billy Gunn being in this corner, those were my only nitpicks. This was great stuff. Well, a big ovation for Anthony Bowens, and I'm just hoping AEW gets behind him and crown him, make him a champion before the end of 2025, because this guy's has it all. He can cut promos, he's good in the ring, he's got a great look to him as well, and him becoming the first openly gay world champion is a story that you could tell long term. I think that would be awesome to tell long term and really show the difference between AEW and WWE and other promotions out there, that they're willing to get behind someone like Anthony Bowens, who's such a great ambassador for pro wrestling. Professor Kris, what did you think about this?
I agree. I wasn't as bullish on the Max Caster stuff as you probably were. I didn't hate it. I thought it was like, of the stuff he's done, I thought last night was the best. But, you know, I think, and even with Billy Gunn being in Caster's corner, I think there is a place for Billy Gunn in AEW. I think you could make him a backstage interviewer or put him on one of those like pre-show panels or anything like that. But I don't think he's doing anything for anybody at the moment. And that's not necessarily a knock on Billy Gunn. It's just, if you have to, a manager has to fit somewhere with the talent. And if there's not a like fit that makes sense, you kind of have to sever the relationship. And it doesn't have to be like a dramatic breakup, just kind of phase him out of that role and give him something else to do. But yeah, I thought the match was fine, and you know, I was cool with it.
Yeah, it was only like 14 seconds. I can't even give a rating to the matchup, but it was great angle and a great pop for Anthony Bowens. J News, what did you think about Bowens' return here?
I thought that it was the best place to bring him back. Obviously, them being in Philly, him being from Jersey, and you know, the geographic part of it. I think shouts to Mickey Ruckus, whatever, the guy who makes all the wrestling themes over there at AEW, man. He's done a bang up job with the one for Anthony Bowens here. I think I really like the Speedball Mike Bailey joint because it reminds me of early 80s, like African Bad Bada type, you know, hip hop joint. So shouts to Mikey Ruckus there. I wanted to say that part of it, and you know, the push for Anthony Bowens going forward is going to be important, right? Because now they spotlighted him here in this return. He looks strong. He's always had that look. He's good on the mic and things of that nature. And I do agree that Billy Gunn isn't needed here. I think Billy Gunn would probably do a better job at what Jeff Jarrett is doing currently than what Jeff Jarrett is doing. I'll say that out loud. And, I hope that Max Caster continues down this road, because Max Caster is a vehicle to continue to either spotlight people who are returning from injury or spotlight people who are coming into the company. So I think he has his niche in the company right now. And good for him, because people just didn't want him on TV for a while. So good for Max Caster for turning it around on that end. And I thought that this was well placed on the show, and everybody came out looking the way they were supposed to after the match was over. So props to them on that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this for Bowens. Like I said, longtime Bowens fan here, so I was very happy with all of this. But that led into the main card, where they announced on the pre-show that the main card would be kicked off by the matchup that we all suspected. We talked about it on our preview, J News, that we suspected this to be the opener. Will Ospreay going up against Kevin the Jet Knight in the Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament quarterfinals. Jim Ross was on commentary, joining Taz and Excalibur. The crowd exploded for Ospreay's entrance. Kevin Knight got a strong reaction, as well as commentary put over how Knight and Nick Wayne will be representing AEW in New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of Super Juniors tournament. Knight got the first takedown early, followed by a corner splash, sliding lariat for an early 2. I love that that Knight, being so fast and so agile, was kind of keeping Ospreay on his back foot, and he had some great facial expressions to kind of show off that Knight was impressing him. Ospreay draped Knight on the top rope and booted him to the floor. He has a slingshot crossbody. Ospreay bowed to the Owen Hart Foundation trophy. Back inside, he is Pip Pip Cheerio connects, and then he gets a near fall. He starts firing off some loud chops, but Knight answered with some chops of his own, leaving a handprint on Ospreay's chest at one point. Ospreay sank in an abdominal stretch and started pressing his knuckles against Knight's rib. Knight escaped and ramped up with a series of clotheslines. Then he hits a UFO splash for a 2 count. Stun Dog Millionaire and a corkscrew kick by Ospreay responds. Knight's handprint, like I said, was on his chest at that point. That was when it was noticeable. Knight leapfrogged the hidden blade and tried a German suplex, but Ospreay landed on his feet and chopped him right to the throat. Hits a snap German suplex of his own. Knight cut off Ospreay with a huge drop kick, but he ultimately ran into a Spanish fly for a double down. We get dual chants for both Ospreay and Knight as they both start exchanging forearms and chops. They maintain wrist control as Ospreay buckled on one of the chops. Ospreay tried the wall walk, and then Knight met him with a drop kick and a Hurricane Rana out of the corner, sending Ospreay to the outside. After bailing, Ospreay thought he was cleared, but Knight flew over the ring post for a dive. I love that they were kind of really playing off that Knight was doing some offense that Ospreay wasn't really ready for. And the other story of this matchup was the multiple times Ospreay looked for the Styles Clash and Knight would reverse it. He tried for one on the ramp, but Knight reverses that to a spike DDT right on the ramp. Instead of taking the count out, though, Knight flew off the top rope with a springboard dive at the count of 9. I like commentary talking about he might regret that. He throws Ospreay in and hits another DDT for a 2 count. Ospreay, he goes for his springboard lariat that he won on Dynamite with, but he misses. Ospreay floats over and tries for a style clash once again, but Kevin Knight proves to be unstyles clashable as he snaps off a Dragon Rana and gets a 2 count. The crowd was on their feet at this point. Ospreay hits him with the hook kick, but Knight responds with an anti-air drop kick off the Os Cutter attempt, catching him in mid-air. Knight was up top and went for a massive UFO splash out of the corner for another near fall. Knight went for a springboard lariat once again, but Ospreay caught him with a cutter in midair. Knight again, though, he avoids an Os cutter, but Ospreay's able to finally manage and hit the Styles Clash, but Knight kicks out at 2. Big response from the fans at that point. Ospreay then hits an Os cutter and catches him flush, but Knight kicks out once again. The crowd is on their feet at this point. So Ospreay says, fuck all of this. I just gotta knock this guy the fuck out. And he demolishes him with the hidden blade. 1, 2, 3. Will Ospreay picks up the victory here, and he moves on in the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament to the semifinals in a hell of an opener here. I thought this was a fantastic way to kick off the show, a fantastic showcase for Kevin the Jet Knight. He really knocked this one out of the park. This was a home run introduction for anyone who didn't know Kevin Knight. He was put over in a major way. He went toe-to-toe with the best in-ring performer in AEW, and Ospreay adds to his long list of fantastic matches on AEW pay-per-view. I gave this opener 4.5 stars. That is how you kick off a damn show. Professor Kris, what did you think about Knight versus Ospreay here?
Man, I love this shit. I thought this is probably my match of the night. I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of it. I was just Kevin Knight versus Ospreay, whatever. Because Ospreay always puts on bangers, so you kind of expect that from him, but you just didn't really know how this would play. And I haven't seen much of Kevin Knight stateside. I've seen a little bit of him, but I'm probably more casually acquainted with them. And I really do think this was a star-making performance. I got to ask you, Sid, is Kevin Knight is all elite? He's signed to a contract. Okay, good. Because I was going to say,
after his match with Jay White on last Saturday's Collision, they officially announced that he's all elite.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was about to say, if this guy is at side, after people are going to be like, he's going to be getting fillers, man. Because this was a very, very, very good match, man. My wife, who watches wrestling with me, who's just very, very like not even a casual fan. She'll put up with it when I watch it. She was impressed by him too. She's like, I never seen this guy before. She thought it was Swerve at first. I was like, oh no, that's Kevin Knight. And it was a great showcase for that brother, man. So I hope we see more of him, and I hope he blows up, man. And I hope Ospreay, man, and you can't say enough good things about Ospreay, because he gave a lot in this match, and he took a lot in this match. So yeah, man, I absolutely love this match.
J News, what did you think about our boy Kevin the Jet Knight AEW pay-per-view debut?
The Jet proved to me exactly, well, not to me, but he proved to the people exactly what we all know, or what we know at the end of the day. That boy got some bunnies at the end of the day. That's one. Two, like I said on the preview, man, this match was designed to showcase what Kevin Knight can do, and he did exactly that. That fan base was, when he came out during the entrance, Philly was lukewarm. By the time that match was over, they were on a high. So they understand where Kevin Knight is now. There's nothing else I could probably say about who Will Ospreay is and what he means to the wrestling industry in 2025. At the end of the day, there's really not much else I can say. It's like, understand the correlation here. It's like what Mercedes means to the women's division is what Will is to the men's division. If you can't have a good match with Will Ospreay, you got no business being in the wrestling business right now.
Exactly.
So I want to say that the match was terrific. I thought it was a great way to open the show. Big future for Kevin Knight. Eventually, when Kev gets more comfortable on the mic, the charisma is really going to show and stuff like that. Yeah. But the in ring, man, he's got that down to his life. So,
I agree. Yeah.
So this is definitely a great way to start off the Owen Hart Cup, and great showing for Kevin Knight, and Will Ospreay goes on as we all figured that he would. So we'll see as to who he ends up facing. I don't know if they're going to continue to do the matches on Dynamite or if they're going to break it down into the other pay-per-views, but we'll see how it all breaks down.
Yeah, the finals is at Double or Nothing, so all the rest of the rounds will be on Dynamite and Collision. So we'll see how it shapes out. But he versus the Ospreay versus the winner of Konosuke Takeshita versus Brody King, which should be another banger in this tournament as well. And we'll talk about the other Owen Hart Cup men's matchup that happened on the show. A bunch of comments here about Kevin Knight. I Make Beats says Kevin Knight showed out. This was great. We also got Call Me Mr. Banda, who says just a couple of bouncy lads having a ball in it. Love this opener. Smile face emoji, heart emoji. We got I Make Beats, who says Maggie pitched this as the opener the other day. Maggie was right. We got I Make Beats saying Ospreay is one of the best pay-per-view opener wrestlers ever. Yes, he is. He always delivers in any spot that he is on pay-per-view, but especially to get the crowd hyped the way he did and make his opponent look like a star. He did excellent here. Call Me Mr. Banda says, I feel like what Ospreay was for what Okada was for Ospreay is what Ospreay is going to be for Kevin Knight as he gets better throughout his career. That would be a great story to tell, like long term. He eventually like is able to beat Ospreay. That would be great to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Call Me Mr. Banda says, shout out to Mont Easy for giving banger theme songs. Yes, I think Mont Easy did Kevin the Jet theme song here. So great stuff. Great stuff to kick off the show here. Then we had our second match on the main card, which was for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, the Hurt Syndicate. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin with MVP in their corner, defending against the Learning Trees, Big Bill and Brian Keith. Huge ovation for the Hurt Syndicate. Very loud "We Hurt People" chants throughout the matchup and the early going here. Keith wasted no time tagging in Big Bill, who started running wild. I love the story of the matchup was really Big Bill gets all the offense while Brian Keith can't really mess with the Hurt Syndicate. But Big Bill, they had to put over. He was like hitting clotheslines on both guys, causing MVP to leave commentary and tend to his team. Benjamin was able to cut off Bill coming back in the ring, allowing Lashley to drive repeated shoulders in the corner. Bill avoided a German suplex, backing Benjamin into the corner, allowing Keith to make the tag, but foolishly he started a slugfest with Shelton, who got the better of him. Mowed him down with a clothesline, some fast tags between the Hurt Syndicate to isolate Keith. Stalling one arm suplex by Lashley got a near fall. He followed up with a corner charge, but Keith was able to move out the way to make the hot tag to Big Bill. Locomotion, corner splashes, and then a big boot to Lashley. Bill was posing too long, allowing Shelton to come in and hit a big German suplex. Bill started no-selling Shelton's strikes and hits a black hole slam for a 2 count. Bill wanted a choke slam, but Shelton rolled through and hits a big thrust kick. Benjamin charged right into Big Bill's big boot, though. Keith tagged in, and he was blindsided by Lashley, who hits a flatliner. A counter suplex into a snake eyes from Big Bill sent Lashley to the outside, which led into the final sequence of this matchup. As the big men were brawling on the floor, all of a sudden, MJF pops up from the front row and decks Big Bill with the Dynamite Diamond ring, which didn't make Lashley or Benjamin very happy. Lashley takes advantage by hitting the spear on Big Bill on the outside, but then Brian Keith realizes that he's all alone in the ring with the AEW World Tag Team Champions, and it's a wrap from there. We get Brian Keith gets a big German suplex from Benjamin, and then a huge spear from Bobby Lashley. 1, 2, 3. The Hurt Syndicate retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This is another Hurt Syndicate title defense, like the one I said with at Revolution with the Outrunners. This could have been on Dynamite. This could have been on Collision. It did not need to be on this pay-per-view. I like the finish parlaying into the whole story with MJF. MJF didn't need to help them. They probably still would have got the win. And I like that Benjamin and Lashley were not happy with the help, but they missed the spot where he interfered too. So the production team sucks. That was my main takeaway, because I was like, this is once again a big spot of the matchup that y'all fucking miss. How do y'all keep missing these big moments in matches after you miss Willow's pounce on Moxley through the table on Dynamite, and then you miss MJF's interference where you see him coming out of the front row and just decide to put the camera on Lashley? That didn't make any sense. The match itself, it was fine. I give it 2.25 stars. J News, what did you think about Hurt Syndicate versus the Learning Tree?
First of all, I would like to say I did not know that we needed a match where we had to spotlight Big Bill. Big Bill's been in the business for more than 10 years. We know who Big Bill and what Big Bill is and what he can do. You know, shouts to Big Bill at the end of the day. I didn't know we needed a spotlight match for Big Bill. 1, 2, camera cuts. Guys, go take production 101 classes. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. People in the truck, y'all relaying the worst information. I don't know what's going on. Fix it. Just fix it or whatever. That's 2. 3. This match I knew was going to work towards the cause of continuing to evolve this storyline with MVP and MJF. They did that, but they blew it with the camera cut. So now they have to probably cut a vignette and explain it on Dynamite and Collision. So now you're doing double the work for a mistake that was made on pay-per-view TV. As you can tell, this was not a positive for the pay-per-view at the end of the day. The match was what it was. At this stage in the game, I cannot blame Bobby Lashley for reacting the way that he reacts when he gets manhandled in the ring, because no one manhandles Bobby Lashley. So when he gets manhandled in the ring, it's like, yeah, bro, he's gonna be surprised. You know what I'm saying? So good on Bobby for that. And yeah, man, I think they just I feel like AEW don't care about the bounty hunter, man. Brian Keith didn't get no love right now, man.
No.
I don't appreciate that, man.
I understand.
But outside of the fact that I feel like Brian Keith and Big Bill need to separate from Chris Jericho, like hopefully that happens soon enough. But and they have reasoning now after Jericho losing his ROH championship. We'll talk about that. And but you know, this was, like you said, it could have been done on Collision, it could have been done on Dynamite. There was no need for it to be done on pay-per-view, but it does coincide with what MVP said very early on in the creation of the Hurt Syndicate. People got to pay to watch you guys, so they're going to be on pay-per-view. Right. So there's that of it, but you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't necessary for this show. And this was a whole lot of unnecessary for what it was at the end of the day.
Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, this was a match that could have been on television. I'll probably go slightly higher than you said. I give it 2.5 stars. J News is right. It didn't need to be on television, but the Hurt Syndicate is one of AEW's most over acts. And Tony Khan is always going to find an excuse to get them on television. And if you're a part of that Philly crowd and you saw the show and you didn't see the Hurt Syndicate, you'd probably be pissed. So whatever you can get of them, you're going to take. So I understand it on a meta level from that perspective. But yeah, they could have been in something more meaningful. And I'm not bullish on whatever's going on with MJF and MVP. I get it. I remember them from MLW. I remember them fondly from MLW. So it was a good thing they had going on over there. But I do think there is an MJF vortex. It's not quite as bad as the Jericho vortex, but I don't think stuff usually goes great for people that are paired with them. I don't know if it's MJF's fault or what, but the long term, this seems like a highway to nowhere. And I got to give Shelton Benjamin his props. I'll do that every chance I get. This brother has found deliverance. He's gotten his second wave. He's been born again in AEW. They have found the secret sauce with him that was missing in WWE probably since 2005. So it's very, very good to see him in this chapter of his career. And I think this is going to do that much more to make him in wrestling lore, to like have people speak fondly of him, the minstrels and all that. So, yeah.
Agree with that. Yeah, I was very happy. This is back-to-back pay-per-view appearances for Shelton Benjamin, who hadn't been on pay-per-view in 4 years. So I will give them that, if that's the only strictly reason why you put him on pay-per-view. Bell with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Bell. Always showing your support in the chat. Says, hey guys, I enjoyed the show, but not gonna lie, I would give it a higher rating if it was an episode of Dynamite or Collision. I just think that there was just some matches that didn't need to be on this the main card was 10 matches deep, and I think you could have cut off at least 2 of these matches and had a better pay-per-view overall. I won't say that it could have been an episode of Dynamite or Collision. I think that's too far, because some of these matches would never be on Dynamite or Collision. So, but
I understand the sentiment, but I agree, Sid.
Yeah. But let's talk about the next matchup here for the TBS. Oh, no, not for the TBS champion. Our next match was Owen Hart Foundation women's quarterfinal matchup. Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, going up against Julia Hart. Moné got pyro for this matchup. It hilariously startled Taz in the early going. Hart used her athleticism early on to avoid Moné's offense, as a head scissors sent Moné into the corner. We saw Harley Cameron was watching this matchup with mini Moné in her hand, as back in the ring you had Hart roll through with a lung blower, encountered the Moneymaker with a backslide for a 2 count. Moné fired off chops and then tried to scale the ropes, but she tripped and still did the arm drag, which caused the fans to boo her. Taz scolded the fans, telling them to try it themselves, as Moné did her dance, allowing Hart to attack from behind. She did a rope walk, clubbering blow from the top rope. Hart slammed Moné down repeatedly to the mat, as Moné tried to sweep the leg on the apron. Hart tried to sweep the leg again, but Moné tried to sweep the leg, but Hart did a cartwheel, only to be speared against the barricade, and then Moné followed up with a Meteora off the apron. Back inside, she got a near fall. We get dueling chants from the crowd as Moné kept Hart grounded. A jawbreaker into an inside cradle by Julia got a 2 count. Her momentum was cut off when Mercedes hits a drop kick and then wanted 3 amigos, but Hart escaped after the second attempt and tried a standing moonsault, but Moné got her knees up. Moné hung Hart in the tree of woe and basically mocked the House of Black pose. But as Moné went up top, Hart powered herself up and did an overhead throw, and then basically started shaking her head like, no, bitch, it ain't going to work with me. As Hart hit a dive to the floor and quickly got back inside and hit a around-the-world DDT. Hart tried to repeat the move, but Moné reversed it into a lung blower for a double down. Julia rolled through on the Moneymaker and got a jackknife pin for a 2. They both fought for position and ended up in the corner. Moné charged, but Hart was able to reverse things and gets the Tarantula, which Pop Taz on commentary gave a shout out to Tajiri here. Then she got her octopus hold that she's been submitting people on Collision with, but Moné was able to collapse in the corner, making Hart go headfirst into the buckle. Hart stomped Moné to the mat and went up top, but Moné hit her with a double foot stomp to face off on the moonsault attempt. We get 2 backstabbers, and then she wanted a third, but Hart fought out of it and hit a crucifix bomb. It didn't look the best there. Both ladies traded Statement Maker into the Heartless attempt. Then Monet rolled through into a quick pin attempt for a 2 count, and then reapplied the Statement Maker. The crowd was completely turned on Mercedes at this point, and were behind Julia, trying to root her on. She escapes. She gets a roll up for a 2 count that the crowd popped for, but Monet recovers. She gets a cradle, basically a seatbelt pin, grabbing the leg the same way that she picked up the victory against Kris Statlander at World's End, and she gets the 1-2-3 to move on in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament. She moves on to the semifinals, where she will face the winner of Harley Cameron versus ROH Women's World Champion Athena, who is backstage watching this matchup. The final 5 minutes basically saved this matchup, turned it into solid. There was a lot of clunky and sloppy work in the early going, which stops this from being a better matchup or in line with what Mercedes has been offering the last couple of shows, like with the Revolution match against Momo Watanabe, and then her 2 matches with Kris Statlander. This is more on the bottom half of Mercedes pay-per-view matches, at least better than the Britt Baker and the Hikaru Shida matches at All In and All Out last year, but not the best, not as good as I thought it could be. I gave this one 3 stars. J News, what did you think about Mercedes versus Julia here?
For all intents and purposes, I'll follow up on what you were just saying. Professional wrestling is a dance at the end of the day, so it takes 2 to tango. So in this particular case, not that Julia wasn't necessarily ready, but she's still young, she's still learning her craft. Yeah. She's getting much better. From where she was to where she is now is there's a stark difference. It's day and night, really. But obviously she still needs to improve, and that was shown throughout the match. But there are parts of her game which are very strong. Presentation. I think that what she does with her promos and things of that nature when it comes to the vignettes is strong as well, and her in-ring presence is also strong. She just needs to be able to get or should I say be better coordinated in the ring when it comes to her physicality. That's the only thing I would say about that. With the match in general, it was okay. I ended up liking it by the end of it. I thought by the end of it, Julia looked like she finally got her bearings about herself, and Mercedes was able to, like Big Man Dog said in the chat, she was able to carry Julia throughout the match. So that part about it was it covered the majority of the negatives in the match, I would say. So not Mercedes' best, like you said, SP3, but not her worst either. No. So give it time. And I think for all intents and purposes, for all the crap that people talk about Mercedes Moné, Mercedes wants to continue to uplift the younger girls on that roster, and this was her opportunity to do so. Did it work out in full? No, but there's still more time with it. So it's only their first. I think their first match, right? This was their first match together. Yeah, so I think they're gonna probably go at it again in the future, and hopefully it'll be better. So it's just it's a learning experience for both of them in this instance, and we all knew Mercedes was gonna win anyway. So that wasn't necessarily a factor in all of this. It was just more or less how the match was gonna look, and it didn't go the way I think everybody wanted it to go.
Professor Kris, what did you think?
I actually really, really like this match. And I understand your criticisms, Sid, but I give it like a 3.75. And I'll tell you why. Mercedes has this knack for being able to figure it out in the middle of the match.
Absolutely.
And I think she's one of the best people at that. And if you have a keen wrestling eye like we do, you can kind of watch as she figures it out. And I think that's a very good talent to have. Being a part of this wrestler content creator space that we're in, I always get like messages from people who follow us and follow what we do, and someone sent me some bullshit that Kevin Nash said about Mercedes and how she's not as good as she was in WWE as Sasha. Some bullshit. I don't. And I'm looking at Mercedes and I look at this match and I look at her body of work this year. I can almost guarantee, I haven't talked to Mercedes. I have never met Mercedes Moné. But I could almost promise you, if she's watching what WWE is doing with the ladies in that company, she's very happy and content with what she's doing in AEW. She is rocking the house. She's shaking and baking. But yeah, I like this match a lot. 3.75 for me.
That's fair. See, a lot of people did enjoy the matchup and showed how good Mercedes is. Because, yeah, in the early going, it wasn't going well. And then they got it together. Like I said, I thought the last, 5 minutes saved this matchup from, being on the lesser, more on the end of her Sheeta match from All Out last year, or even as bad as the Britt Baker match was.
Yeah.
But you could tell when she's in there with someone who is going to put in the effort, she can put something together that's entertaining, and this was.
But shout out to Julia too as well.
Yeah. Julia did well. I'm not sure about the leather pants though. I don't know.
It's a different look. I think a lot of the girls are trying to, just from an overall perspective, I think a lot of the girls are trying to find their personas and personalities through their gear right now, because there is this upswell and uproar in the internet about all the females looking the same with the gear and shit like that.
I give her a slight pass on that because she is trying to find herself.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it was like Undertaker American Badass pants. But next up, you had AEW World Trios Championships up for grabs. The Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta defending against Rated, FTR, Dax Hardwood, Cash Wheeler, and Cope. This one, Nigel McGuinness joined the commentary team. We're told that Paul Turner drew this assignment despite having issues with Dax Harwood in recent weeks. I was like, he paid him $10,000. The fix is in, but it wasn't. Pac and Harwood have a fast exchange early on to start, before Dax scrambled out from a brutalizer attempt. Cope tagged in and was quickly taken down into the Death Riders corner. Yuta tags in, and oh my God, Yuta got the most reaction out of everybody. He is from the Philadelphia area, and he was booed unmercifully. We get Cope pulled on his beard and tagged in Cash, who sent a slingshot shoulder block and chops to follow. Fast tags from Wheeler and Cope, who kept up their double team until Harwood joins for an assisted avalanche power slam by Cash on Claudio for a 2 count. Wheeler followed with a tope con hilo as back inside Pac ran distraction, allowing Yuta to shove Wheeler off the top rope into Claudio hitting an uppercut. Wheeler remained isolated until he went to make the hot tag to Cope, but Harwood stole the tag and started running wild to zero reaction from the fans. The fans reacted to him stealing the tag, but they weren't into Dax doing that. Tony Schiavone drove home how the tag was meant for Cope. Claudio no-sold 3 Harwood lariats and then tried a pop-up European uppercut, but Harwood countered into a backslide. Yuta tried to make the save, but Cope caught him into the grindhouse. Then we get Harwood trap Pac into a sharpshooter. At the same time, Claudio had Cash Wheeler in a sharpshooter of his own. Harwood and Claudio start swinging, slapping each other as they have the submissions on until they broke it up and get into an absolute slap fight. Castagnoli cleared house and tagged in Yuta. He then did the giant swing into the drop kick. Then we get locomotion uppercuts in the corner from the Death Riders. Then Pac hits a tombstone. Claudio takes turns doing the fastball special with Yuta and then Pac for a 2 count. Harwood dodged a charging Claudio and then dove for a hot tag to Cope. He starts running wild. He hits an impaler on Pac. Then we get quick tags made as Cope hits the powerplex on Pac. Wheeler hits the splash, and then Harwood hits a diving headbutt for a 2 count. Yuta recovered and hits a missile dropkick on Cope, but was planted with a bounce back power bomb by Dax. Pac reappeared and locked in the brutalizer as Castagnoli and Yuta held off Cash and Cope, but they broke through to stop the submission holds. Yuta wanted a Psycho knee, but he ran right into the Shatter Machine. Pac was planted with a spear, but Claudio broke up the count. Yuta leapfrogged a spear, so Cope almost hit Dax, but he stopped short, pumping the brakes. But Yuta pushes Cope right into Dax. They clunk heads. Cope is out of there while Yuta hits the Psycho knee on Dax. 1, 2, 3. The Death Riders retain the AEW World Trios Championships in what I thought was a very fun matchup. Probably the best Trios title matchup that the Death Riders have had since winning the titles last August at All in London. I gave this one 4 stars. This was the best match up to this point to me, besides the opener. This was the best match of the next 3 matches, but a really strong matchup from everyone involved. Really kept the crowd involved in all of this. Like I said, I give it 4 stars, but man, we got a near 5-star angle to follow this, because post-match you get the Death Riders celebrate. They go through the crowd. Cash Wheeler was left standing as Cope offered his hand to Dax Harwood to pick him up. Rated FTR stood tall as they all hugged it out. They raised each other's hands. Cash Wheeler was about to leave when Dax Harwood turns Cope around and drops him with a power driver. Harwood quickly goes to the ringside area. He grabs 2 chairs. Cash Wheeler is just wondering what the hell is going on. He wants Cash Wheeler to deliver a concerto to Cope, but Cash shoves his partner down. Cash then helps out Cope, gets him to his feet, but then he pulls him into a Shatter Machine. Yes, FTR has turned on Cope. They then basically quickly pick up Cope. They look like they want to end his career after all the neck damages and concussions that Cope has been through. They set up the chair and they deliver a spike power driver right on the chair. Dax Harwood then sets him up. It looks like he's going for the concerto, but Cash stops him and he says, "Allow me." He takes the steel chair and he delivers the concerto to Cope. The doctor ran to the ringside area. Cash Wheeler gives him another concerto for good measure, trying to put him away completely. Cash then mockingly grabs a neck brace as they got the stretcher out for Cope. He then puts on the neck brace and lays on the stretcher as Dax gives him chest compressions. Cash then told the doctors that Cope needs the brace more than he does. As FTR walks to the back, Cope was loaded up on the stretcher and brought to the back, and Nigel McGuinness puts the cherry on top and says FTR stands F the rest. This was a fantastic angle. I thought this was so well done. FTR were way better than I ever expected them to be as baby faces, but they thrive. They strive as heels. This is what they were always meant to be. The babyface run went way too long, and this was such a well done angle, and Philadelphia responded to it big. Like, they saw a big moment here. FTR is where they need to be. This post-match angle was even better than the very fun trios match that we got beforehand. Jay News, what did you think about Death Riders versus Rated FTR, and then FTR turning on Cope?
The match was solid by all accounts. I like the fact that Wheeler Yuta gets a reaction now instead of him just getting indifference from the crowd. So something's working there. Jury's still out on Claudio. That's just me. And the bastard was being the bastard. When it comes to Rated FTR, it was fun while it lasted. This angle that they played post-match, it was necessary, but then I asked myself, for the tag division itself, who are the good guys in the tag division?
Right, yeah.
Who are the good guys in the tag division outside of the Outrunners, right? Who are the good guys in the tag division? There's no face tag team, dude. And we're not counting Top Flight because we know they don't count. You know what I'm saying? They don't count right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, the donkey. Like everyone, all the tag teams are heel tag teams. Like, who are the faces? Like,
Undisputed
what are we
Kingdom.
doing? Who?
Undisputed Kingdom.
Come on.
Okay.
They haven't even
What?
spotlight. They haven't
You
even
told
spotlighted
me. You told me. You asked the question. I answered it. It's up.
Oh my god, man! They need to put the spotlight on a. They need to put the spotlight on a face tag team. Ninja Mortis, don't bring up GYV to me. I'm pissed off about that shit right now. So, that is what that is. But no, clearly, like on TV, from a spotlight perspective, they don't have a face tag team to represent the company right now, and that shit, it bothers me. But obviously, we're going towards whatever. I guess everyone's thinking Cope and Christian will team back up eventually. And that's the match we're gonna head towards is Cope and Christian versus FTR and all that stuff, which is fine. How we get there is more or less my worry, how they evolve this story and things of that nature. So we'll see. But the angle was a good angle. The crowd was into it. That it did reach a fever pitch. I thought that the second concerto was a bit much. They had already spiked them on the chair and did the one concerto. So I was like, I mean, I guess. So I guess Adam's gonna be off TV for a while. So we'll have that going, and yeah, I think that does it for me. There we go.
Professor Kris, what did you think about rated FTR versus the Death Riders and then FTR's turn?
Okay, so the match was fine. I didn't have any issues with it. I kind of expected the Death Riders to hold on. As far as the heel turn, I'll say this, Sid. You probably saved this from getting a worse rating than I probably originally was going to give it. I didn't hate it. It's just I thought the turn itself was a little lazy as far as me being able to telegraph it. And maybe it's just being a wrestling pundit or whatever, but I just saw it coming. And I've talked to FTR a long time ago in my past wrestling analyst days, and they told me that they were never gonna break up as a team. So just knowing that piece of information, just I didn't see that even possible. So if I'm taking myself out of the equation, they did what they needed to do with the fans. But I understand what Jay News is saying, but I'm kind of the my whole thing with the heels and faces is I think that in wrestling there are just certain people that shouldn't be heels at the same time and faces at the same time. I felt like that in the 90s with The Rock and Triple H. I thought if one of them is a face, the other one automatically needs to be a heel. And I feel that way with FTR and the Young Bucks. I just don't. I think that for the balance of the AEW universe, one of those teams needs to be a heel team. Right. The other team needs to be a face team. They both shouldn't be heels at the same time. But it was. Sorry, that was a rant, but it was what it was. I was, wait and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I think
I called this happening on our prediction show. I knew that this was going to happen, but I just thought it was very well done how they did it.
Like Big Bad Dog said, the execution was perfect. I think it's just more like Professor Kris is saying. I think I've been watching wrestling for a long period of time. I have a semi-traditionalist mindset where it should be faces versus heels. I do know certain acts are just tweeners at the end of the day, where they don't necessarily land on one side. There is gray. People have complex personalities and all that jazz. But for what it's worth in the AEW universe, it's like will any of this heel versus heel stuff really work to that particular extent? So, like Professor Kris said, it's more of a wait and see now with the tag teams and stuff. So, we'll see, man.
And then for me, it's just this kind of thing. It hasn't happened in AEW, so I'll give them credit. But the fake team breakup has just happened too many times this year with the New Day and what's the other team? DIY. And now with these guys, I don't want to see another one of those after this. I just don't want to see a fake team breakup. If you're gonna break the team up. Don't do this bullshit again. It's starting to turn unoriginal.
And to answer Russell Scorps, he says, "Aren't the Hurt Syndicate technically faces? No. They're not faces at all. They're tweeners. The best you can give them is tweeners. They're tweeners. But that doesn't answer the question and the issue that Jay News was bringing up. You need to commit that they are faces because they are so popular. They should be faces. They're cool badasses.
Yeah, they're the road warriors of the 2020s is what they are. Because the Road Warriors were heels and they were getting cheered to the point of, okay, these guys might as well be faces. And that's what the Hurt Syndicate is.
Yeah. Nathaniel asks, do you guys think FTR win the tag team titles? I think at this point, this is probably the direction we're going in because it looks like All In, we're going to have two big tag team matches of Young Bucks versus Hangman and Swerve and Cope and Christian versus FTR. And one of those should be for the tag team titles because no matter who the Hurt Syndicate faces, if it's not one of those four teams, then they're going to be in the third tag team matchup. It's going to be 3 out of those 3 because those other 2 are so strong stories and have such big stars in it. They are going to take the spotlight away from the tag team titles. So it would be in their best benefit to put the tag team titles in one of those matches. So I could see a world where FTR win the tag team titles from the Hurt Syndicate because MJF cost them because they don't let him in the Hurt Syndicate. And then you run MJF versus Lashley, or you run the Hurt Syndicate versus MJF and 2 of his goons at All In. I could see them doing something like that 100%. I think that the next part of this story is probably going to be the patriarchy turning on Christian. And basically the 2 friends are going to be down in the dumps, turned on by their friends and their family. And they basically have to say the person you know the longest is the person that you should be aligned with. And they come together to get revenge on everybody.
Can't wait to see Mama Wayne smack the piss out of Christian. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it.
Absolutely, Old Nutty. That should have been the move. The Young Bucks come back as faces. I do agree with what Professor Kris says. Like, the Young Bucks and FTR are like, they feel like career rivals now, especially since the Young Bucks don't have the Lucha Bros, who I think are better rivals for them. They don't have the Lucha Bros in AEW anymore. So now their AEW career rivals are FTR. So I do agree with what Professor Kris says. They should never be on the same alignment. They should never be heels at the same time. They should never be baby faces at the same time. We saw how well when their first match they did when the buildup was awful because they were both trying to be baby faces.
Yeah, exactly. There needs to be some wrestling equilibrium that we could all just count on.
Yeah. Next up was for the AEW Women's World Championship. It was timeless Toni Storm with Luther in her corner facing Megan Bayne. We had, after Bayne's entrance, Justin Roberts introduced us to our featured presentation as Storm was training. She was Rocky on the streets of Philadelphia before screaming into a pillow. Storm is dressed as Rocky Balboa while Luther is dressed as Mickey. Nigel McGuinness said that Storm had been drinking eggs and beating meat, and take that how you will. That was such a great line. Nigel is the best. Nigel's the best commentator here.
Hilarious.
Storm tries a quick start, but Bayne showed her her power with a shoulder block before backing Storm into the corner. Storm ducked a lariat and hit a nice little crossbody out of the corner as she fired off body kicks, only to be caught with an overhead throw. After a body slam, Bayne wiped her feet with Storm as the crowd was loudly behind Timeless Toni Storm at this point, who was flattened with a fallaway slam and then a big boot to send her outside. Luther tried to tend to Storm, but Bayne hits a big tope suicida. I was like, she broke that out of nowhere, wiping out Luther, who hits hard on the ramp. Storm, though, uses that to her advantage. She basically uses Luther as a launch pad and hits a tornado DDT on Bayne on the outside. Back inside, a diving crossbody off the top got Storm a near fall. Penelope Ford tripped Toni Storm, allowing Bayne to hit a pump kick, basically getting more control of this one, laying out Storm here. Bayne remained in the driver's seat. Ford got in more shots on Storm behind the referee's back before licking Toni in the process. Storm tried to battle back with the Luthez press, but Bayne caught her and hit repeated overhead throws. About the fourth time that Penelope Ford tried to interfere, we had Luther recover from his beating from the tope suicida, and he carried Penelope Ford to the outside. He was sticking his tongue out where I was like, you creep. This allowed Storm to ramp up the offense, finally hitting a Luthez press and then a tornado DDT out of the corner. She did an Indian deathlock / STF variation, but Bayne powdered her way to the ropes. We get Bayne avoided the Storm Zero and sent Toni onto the apron, where she hits a back suplex from the outside in. Then we get Bayne took way too long going up to the top rope, really taking her time, allowing Toni Storm to recover. She has a nice looking, brutal looking release German suplex where Bayne was dropped on her head. Both ladies slowly got up. A slugfest ensues with Storm being relentless. She sidesteps a Bayne lariat and then into another release German suplex. Bayne caught a charge and hits a stalling German suplex of her own, with Toni landing on the back of her head. Bayne connects with a brutal looking Falcon Arrow for a near fall. She tries for Fate's Descent, but Toni is able to roll through. They trade standing switches until Toni hits a snap German suplex. She hits Sweet Cheek Music in the corner, but Bayne no-sells it like she did in the tag team match 2 weeks ago. Storm is ready for it, though. She fires off a headbutt. She hits three straight Sweet Cheeks Music in the corner, and then follows up with the Storm Zero, and Bayne kicks out at 1. The crowd is just like awing at this one, shocked at Bayne kicking out that quickly. Bayne, though, goes on a flurry here. She hits 2 big lariats, including the flying Undertaker lariat. Then she hits a Liger bomb, a brutal looking one. She looks for Fate's Descent. She has her up. She says bow down, but Toni pulls out her signature move, the small package. 1, 2, 3. Timeless Toni Storm picks up the victory. Bayne can't believe it that her cockiness took basically made her lose her big opportunity here, a big chance to become AEW Women's World Champion. Toni is in disbelief that she was able to survive the monster here as she picks up the victory to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. This was an excellent matchup. This was exactly how I said it should have been on the preview, J News. You made Megan Bayne look like an absolute monster, but her cockiness, her thinking that she had everything at hand, was what Toni Storm needed to get the one move that has sealed the deal for her every single time, the small package, to pick up the victory here. I thought this was an excellent match. This was brilliantly laid out as well and performed by both ladies. My only nitpick would be I thought that this should have been later in the card, probably in the semi-main event spot, because no matter where you put Toni Storm on this crowd is in love with her. They love her. She's one of the most over talents in this company. So you can put her later in the card instead of one match or two matches after the other women's match on the card. If it's a 10-match card and you got two women's matches, spread it out a little bit. That's my only nitpick. And that has more to do with the booking, because both ladies performed here. This was Megan Bayne's best match in AEW, and Toni Storm's on a heater right now. She's having a Women's Wrestler of the Year run to start off 2025. I gave this one 4.25 stars. Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, Toni Storm is a national treasure. She's an international treasure. If the pay-per-view ended with Toni Storm, I'd probably think higher of the pay-per-view. My God, man, the AEW has these wrestlers like Toni Storm, like Hangman Page, like Mercedes, like Swerve Strickland, that should be crossover mainstream stars at this point. And it's almost a travesty that they're not quite there yet. But man, Toni Storm, she needs to be on every single talk show you could get her on. She is appealing. She's funny. My wife cracks up at her. Like my friends love her, like anybody. And I haven't met one internet person who's been like, Toni Storm sucks. She is so great. And yeah, I give this like a 4.25 stars. This was just magnificent, man. And Toni Storm has something that you just really can't describe, and that's always a good thing to have if you're a wrestler. You just, whatever she's got, you just got to bottle it up and sell the fuck out of it, man. Because it is great. I can't say enough great, awesome things about Toni Storm. Sorry if it sounds like I'm caping too much, but man, I love her, man. It's so fucking great.
Yeah. I disagree with this comment here. WrestleScope saying, my concern with Toni, the continued use of the roll up to win needs to be a solid payoff for this. That is the payoff. The payoff is she basically went back to basics when she became the rocker Toni Storm in the Mariah May feud, and went back to basics with a basic wrestling move, which is the Saw package. She was winning all of her matches with it, and then it paid off in Australia when she won against Mariah May to win back her fourth reign as AEW Women's World Champion. And that was the perfect move to use here, where you're not destroying the big push for Megan Bayne. She got beat with a wrestling move because Toni was smarter, and she's only won with it twice in title matches. So I definitely agree with this. This is the solid payoff for everything that they did with rocker Toni Storm. We're seeing it paid off in the fact that she won the title with the small package and beat her biggest challenger yet with Megan Bayne. That's the payoff. You're actually watching the payoff, and so you're probably not realizing it. And this is a key thing that Bryan Danielson really came into play in the modern era in his reign as Ring of Honor a world champion back in 2006. He won multiple title matches with the small package, and that was the whole thing. He's just the best wrestler, so he's able to get wins with a simple wrestling move because he's just that good. And Bret Hart did this back in the 90s. He would win with victory rolls and stuff like that. This is what the best wrestlers do. They can win with the simplest wrestling move because they do it better than everybody else. J News, what did you think? Oh, God, sorry, Professor.
If I could indulge WrestleScope for 1 second, and thank you for the comment too. But I agree with Sid on this. I think for Toni Storm, that roll up is kind of her Hollywood ending. You know, she wrestled this crazy match, and she escapes with the good Hollywood ending. So I got no problem with the victory roll, but I understand what you're saying. I just don't have an issue with it. I think it, like all of what Sid was saying, it makes sense.
J News?
Yeah, I thought for all intents and purposes, my worry going into this match was what the execution was going to be and how Megan was going to look by the end of it. And this was like you said, SP3, this is a perfectly executed match from beginning to end. From the vignette as she was training like Rocky to the end of it when she won with the roll up, because you can't beat a monster with your finisher. That's just not the way it goes down. You know what I'm saying? Balboa won by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, exactly. With the
skin of his teeth. So at the end of it all, you know, with Toni winning by the skin of her teeth, it was good. Secondly, I want to say this was Megan Bayne's longest match in an AEW ring, and she proved out that she got the cardio, she's got the skills, she's got the moveset in order to have longer matches. So props to Megan in that particular regard. And once again, it was a perfectly executed match. I gave this 4.25 stars if I'm giving it a grade in that particular regard. I thought the ladies showed out here. Where do these ladies go from here? We don't know, but that's a good thing, just because it allows them to go into avenues and paths that allow them to continue to evolve their individual characters and where they'll go in the women's division from here.
Yeah, and it's key because I don't think Megan Bayne lost anything, like you said, Jay News. She had her best match to date. She dominated like 80% of it. She kicked out at one of the Storm Zero, and she lost on a basically a pinning combination. So she didn't lose anything, and she looked very, very good in defeat.
Right. And Storm shouldn't be getting beat. I like Mariah May. I like her better than I was liking her in the past, but I don't think Toni Storm should have even lost to her. I think Toni Storm needs to be established that she is the woman in the in AEW. She is that girl, and that's how it should be, in my opinion, with Toni Storm. I love Megan Bayne too, but she shouldn't be beating Toni Storm. Not right now.
Agreed. Next up, we had our third and final Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament matchup. This in the quarterfinals, it is Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. Fletcher hits a dive before the bell during Briscoe's entrance. He hits a luva kick, but Briscoe nearly countered a brainbuster into a cradle for a 2 count. I love when Don Callis is on commentary explaining the strategy of the Don Callis family, and he said that he told Fletcher to start off the matchup fast. That's what Briscoe would do. So you're going to throw him off guard by you doing it his way. Fletcher went to the apron and hits a thrust kick, but backdropped by Briscoe on the edge of the ring frame. Somersault neck breaker off the apron by Briscoe. He tried to set up a chair to launch off of it, but referee Rick Knox took it away. So Briscoe told the crowd to boo that man. Baseball slide connects as Briscoe leaped off the barricade with the cactus elbow. Briscoe threw multiple chairs, so referee Rick Knox had to get rid of a bunch of them, giving him time and enough time to do the springboard, but Fletcher cuts him off. He hits an exploder right onto the open chair, undetected to Knox. We see Konosuke Takeshita watching backstage. Then Fletcher hits multiple power bombs onto the apron and then one onto the barricade, right onto the back of the neck of Briscoe. Excalibur brought up the possibility of Fletcher and Takeshita facing off each other in the finals of the tournament. Callis says that he's steering up for matches that will never happen, which Shivani was about to call him out on, but Briscoe broke the count, got back into the ring before the count of 10. Fletcher charged with a boot in the corner and then wanted his avalanche brainbuster, but Briscoe hit him free and hits a shotgun dropkick for a double down. We see Brody King is watching backstage as well. Hard corner chops. Fletcher turned to kitchen sink knees, leading to both ducking running clothesline attempts and then running I've never seen this where guys did a double clothesline and both turned inside out. I've never seen that before at the same time. That was beautifully done. Well timed there. Both slowly got up. They slugged it out as Briscoe ramped it up, hitting forearms and the fisherman buster for a 2 count. Thrust kick response from Fletcher. Briscoe floated through on a Liger bomb, but Fletcher hit him with a brutal looking snake eyes, Insiguri, and then a thrust kick on the corner. He then hits a nasty looking brainbuster right on the apron. Then he brings him back inside, hits a sheer drop brainbuster back in the ring for a 2 count. Callis is furious at this point as Brisco floats over the avalanche brainbuster attempt. He tries for the cutthroat driver, which got him the win in the Continental Classic, but Fletcher is able to hold on to the ropes. We get a BT bomb by Brisco. He follows up with the sliding lariat, and then the froggy bow for a near fall. Brisco wants the J driller, but Fletcher is able to spun out of it. Brisco does hit the cutthroat driver, but Fletcher wisely rolled outside before he can get the cover. Brisco leaped off the top rope with a froggy bow to the floor. Back inside, he tries for another froggy bow, but Fletcher gets both boots up. Running corner knees. His haluva kick is ridiculous. He has so much speed on it. It looks like he's about to kick the person's head off. Then he follows up. He hits the turnbuckle avalanche brain buster right on the top turnbuckle. 1, 2, 3. Kyle Fletcher pins Mark Brisco to move on in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. He will face the winner of the wild card versus Hangman Adam Page in the semifinals. Another great match between these two. This was a balls to the wall banger. This was the definition of all thriller, no filler. They just left it all in the ring from the minute go, right before the bell. They were just on it right here. These two guys have unreal chemistry together, and they delivered another great matchup here. I gave this one as well 4.25 stars. They delivered, but I wouldn't have mind if this match also happened on Dynamite. I maybe would have gave it more if it's a TV match on Dynamite. I didn't think it necessarily needed to be on the card, despite loving every minute of it. J News, what did you think about Fletcher versus Brisco?
You know, at the end of the day, when it came down to the placement of this match on the card, it being so deep on the card, I said to myself, I'm not too sure this match should be this deep in the card. But then Kyle being Kyle and a Brisco being a Brisco make it happen at the end of the day. To me, up until the freaking three-way match happened, this was the best match of the night for me. The sheer unmitigated velocity in which Kyle Fletcher works in that ring is unmatched. And how violent it looks and how real it feels. And shouts to Mark Brisco for being a tough son of a bitch. Chicken every day of the goddamn week. So I wanted to say that. Terrific match. At the end of the day, during the preview, I picked Chicken to win at the end of the day. But, it makes all the sense in the world for Kyle to win here and things of that nature. But, man, this match was way more physical than I thought it was going to be. I don't think I'm just talking about from the sense of physicality. I'm not sure if that would have, first of all, if they would have gotten the time and then the amount of physicality they had, if it would have worked on a Dynamite necessarily. So I think it was good to have it on the pay-per-view, but man, I can't say anything bad about either of these guys. So great match. It was well put together, and yeah, now we wait and see as to who Kyle has to face coming up. I think my prediction about who the wild card is going to be might be dead on, bro. To be quite honest, so from the way the show ended, it might be dead on. So we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, man, fantastic match.
Professor Kris?
Yeah, so me and you star these matches a little bit different, Sid, because I judge these matches by the totality of all the external factors around the match. So and this includes how I feel going into the match, right? This match, it was on a long ass AEW pay-per-view, which is par the course with AEW pay-per-views. I was getting tired during this pay-per-view, and by the time this match came on, wasn't a bad match. I was just kind of in a lull. So I give it like a 3.8 maybe. It just didn't wake me up the way it probably should have. Maybe if I watched this, sometimes when you ask me to do these shows, Sid, sometimes I'll watch the pay-per-view the morning before we do the show so I can have a fresh set of eyes when I do it. But I just didn't do that last night. And I even judge these matches based off like after my recency bias. I'll wait a couple weeks to see if I still feel the same way, and my score might change even then. So yeah, 3.8. It was fine. It's just AEW, the pacing, and this wasn't enough to, bring me back to consciousness.
That's fair. And yeah, I did love Fletcher's tights, the Owen Hart tribute tights
that
with
was cool,
with the pink. That was great. That was great. And he's in incredible shape. Oh my God. I have to say it every time. This man has pulled off one of the best transformations look-wise in a very, very long time. Next up, I do understand though if you were burnt out after this match, and the next match did not help that, because next up was for the Ring of Honor World Championship, Bandito challenging Chris Jericho. I love the video package, made it look like this has been one of the better built matches on the show, but yeah. Bandito hugged his mother and his sister as he came out to the ring, who were seated at ringside. Right at the opening bell, Jericho hits the code breaker and gets a close near fall. Lionsault connects for another 2 as Bandito recovered, avoided a Jericho charge with a headstand, sent Jericho to the outside where he hit one dive after another, clearing the top rope with a somersault plancha. Bandito brought Jericho over to his family. He kissed his mother, where I'm just screaming at the TV, like, get on him. What the fuck are you doing? I calmed her down before throwing Jericho back into the ring. He followed up with a tornillo for a 2 count. He hits a great-looking one-handed stalling vertical suplex for a full minute as McGuinness scolded the crowd for counting in English and not Spanish. Running boot on the apron from Bandito, who tried it again, but Jericho catches him for a gnarly-looking powerbomb off the apron to the floor, causing Bandito to go splat. Jericho grabbed the camera and filmed Bandito's family as they were crying, chanting for Bandito. Jericho kicked up his feet in the corner and took a breather as Bandito broke the count at 15, as commentary reminded us that it's a 20 count in these Ring of Honor matches. We get please retire chants for Jericho at this point as he starts paintbrushing Bandito and flattens him with a big boot. Both of them start slugging it out for a bit. Bandito makes his comeback. He hits a great looking gorilla press slam with one arm and then a frog splash for a 2 count. Bandito tries for another tornillo, but Jericho catches him with the code breaker in mid-air for a double down. Then we get late into the matchup. Brian Keith runs down to the ring, but gravity cuts him off and starts brawling. Referee Aubrey Edwards tries to separate them as Bryce Remsburg is paying attention to the brawl on the outside and not Jericho in the ring, who pulls out Floyd the Bat from between the apron and the steel steps. He grabs the bat. He decks Bandito with it. He then takes his time to hide the evidence, trying to tuck it in between the apron and the steel steps. And then he crawls very, very, very slowly into the cover. The referee gets down and counts 1. And I'm like, okay, Bandito's going to kick out. He took way too long to get the cover. 2. I was like, holy shit. No, they're not about to do this. 3, Bandito loses this mass versus title match. Chris Jericho seemingly retains the Ring of Honor World Championship due to nefarious memes. And then we get one of the most unnecessary, dusty finishes ever. As post-match, referee Aubrey Edwards, who apparently speaks fluent Spanish, who wasn't even the official in the actual matchup, who was just trying to break up the brawl between BK and Gravity, talks to Bandito's mother and sister, who told her about the baseball bat. They point to the apron and the steel steps. They left ringside and show Aubrey the bat. She pulls it out from the apron and steel steps. She brings it to the attention of referee Bryce and Justin Roberts, who talk it over, and we're told that the match has been restarted. I was like, we're not even going to go to a replay? We're just going to take the word of the mother and the sister? What the fuck are we doing? What, a fan can change the outcome of a matchup? Jericho gets pissed. He grabs Bandito's sister by the hair. She slaps him. No DQ, because that's a disqualification if you ask me. Allowing Bandito to hit a reverse GTS. He then hits the 21 plex to get the 1-2-3 and win the Ring of Honor World Championship. Tony Schiavone said, not often are matches restarted in AEW, but justice was served in this case. Bandito celebrates with his mother, sister, and Gravity. The match was going way better than I thought it was going to be up until this horrible fucking finish. This finish is so bad. I mean, yeah, the crowd was into it. The crowd are chanting, hey, 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 goodbye to Jericho at the end. Bandito is Ring of Honor World Champion, but why the actual fuck did you need to do a dusty finish? Just have Jericho lose. Honestly, before the main event, this was the worst finish of the night for me, because he pulled the fucking Triple H on Booker T in the dusty finish as well. I was so turned off by all of this. Professor Kris, what did you think about Bandito and Jericho?
Yeah, Tony Khan deserves a kick in the balls if this was his idea. He deserves a kick in the balls if just for letting it go on television. I'm not one of those people who hates Chris Jericho's wrestling or whatever chant, please retire at him. I don't like his MAGA politics outside of wrestling, but if you keep that shit off of TV, I got no problem with you. And Jericho, for the most part, does that. But yeah, this and he did some athletic things in this match that, for a guy who's been doing this as long as Jericho has done, I was kind of impressed by a little bit. But yeah, that dusty finish was completely unnecessary. It really just took the wind out of my sails. And you're not just booking for the crowd in Philly, you're booking for the people watching at home, you know. And it made no fucking sense, because in the very next match, you could easily did that with Swerve in his finish, because he got fucked out of the title.
Well, yeah, in the main event, I agree. You should have. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that in one match. You got to do it in all of them.
Right, yeah. When you're in a universe of a TV show, a wrestling thing, the Marvel universe, the DCU, whatever, the things have to make sense within the universe you are building. And the fact that they did that stupid dusty finish, it was a joke. It was dumb. Bandito should have beat him fair and square. That should have been the end of the story. This took the pay-per-view down a few pegs for me. I've slept on it, and I still fucking hate it.
I don't blame you at all. J News, what did you think about Bandito versus Jericho here?
Yeah, I got another 20 minutes left on this, so I'm gonna on the pod. So I'm gonna keep this one short. Unnecessary. Jericho didn't need to be on this show. This needed to end Supercard of Honor next month. If you want to stabilize and substantiate Ring of Honor as a brand, you need to have important matches on their shows, and this probably could have ended the show and been a bigger thing for Bandito to become a 2-time ROH champion on ROH show instead of an AEW show. Outside of that, the Dusty finish was unnecessary. Dusty's no longer with us. Stop using the shits out here unnecessarily. Can we go on to the next match, please?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to highlight a few comments here. I Make Beats saying, I don't watch ROH, but even I wanted that belt off him. We got Big Man Dogs who says Jericho is a devious politician. So yeah. Respect to Bandito. We did not need this to be the third longest match on this show. We just did not. We did not. But Next up, we get Adam Cole challenging Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. No outside interference, no time limit. We get Pie Face and Slugfest early on from both men. Garcia took control. He hits he basically traps Cole in the ropes and hits the 10 punches in the corner, which he's been unable to do in their past 2 matches after the interference from Shane Taylor Promotions in the first match, and then their time limit draw in the second matchup. Garcia dodged, and Cole came up limp after he went for a Panama Sunrise off the apron, which really became the focus of the matchup and the focus for Garcia. Referee never had time to check on Cole as Garcia flew in with a shotgun dropkick and then stomped at the knee. He zeroed in, zoned in on the leg as Cole was really selling the left leg throughout. The moment let his foot off the gas, Cole was able to hit a Ushigoroshi. He tries for the Panama Sunrise once again, but Garcia rose through. He tries for the Dragon Tamer, only settled for a lariat that turned Cole inside out. Garcia hits this awesome looking twisting Gosh style power driver, which commentary then comments on Jerry Lynn, and Nigel McGuinness says that's beat me a couple of times. We get Garcia hit snap back suplex, throws overhand chops. He ran into a super kick. Garcia literally almost fell onto a pin though in the process, but Cole recovered and countered into a crucifix pin for a near fall. He goes, Cole goes for a super kick, but Garcia reverses it into an ankle lock until Cole's able to roll him to the floor. Garcia stood tall and posed as he tries to look for a power driver on the apron, but Cole recovers and hits the last shot right on his knee on top of the steel steps. Garcia hits a Panama Sunrise of his own. Garcia lowers his knee pad and goes for the boom, but Cole's able to kick out. Garcia is visibly frustrated at that point. Cole tries for the boom himself, but Garcia passes out after a Panama Sunrise on the floor. We get Garcia then basically becomes incredibly frustrated. So we get a call back to his MJF matchup from last year. He tries to go for an avalanche power driver, but Cole is able to fight back. He hits a Panama Sunrise flush. He then goes to the other side of the ring and he hits a second Panama Sunrise in the ring. I think at this point there's like 5 Panama Sunrises in the matchup, and not a lot of them look that good. But then Cole lowers the knee pad. He lowers the boom on Garcia. 1, 2, 3. Adam Cole picks up the victory here to become the new TNT champion. He offers a hand to Garcia, who accepts the handshake. He gives Cole the ring, but he's completely heartbroken, losing the TNT championship. I thought this was a good matchup, but the crowd was just not into it. It felt like the Jericho match killed the crowd, and Cole winning his first singles gold in AEW overall felt flat in the process. This was a good match, but it should have been earlier in the card. And if you're going to do a time limit draw, a 20-minute time limit draw in their second matchup, and then you make this matchup no time limit, the match at least needs to go 20 minutes. It took 15 minutes. It was not as good as the 20-minute time limit draw. I gave this one 3 stars. Professor Kris, what did you think about Cole and Garcia?
Yeah, this was for something as monumental as this, it should have been earlier in the card. 3 stars. I got nothing much more to say. So.
J News.
Yeah, I think that they played off the dynamic really well between Danny playing heel in this match in comparison to Adam Cole being the face in this match. It was well paced. Overall, the crowd was completely out of it by this point. They were dragged out of it by the whole Jericho match. Actually, this happened twice during the show. Once here in this match with Adam Cole and Danny, and then again for the main event where the crowd was completely out of it. So 2 negative knocks there on the show overall to say that piece. I'm glad Adam won. Like I said, it was a well-paced match. It was a well-worked match and things of that nature. Danny's got a bright future in AEW. And Adam Cole is a champion in AEW. Feels right. It's about damn time. And we'll see how he decides to to either elevate or evolve the TNT Championship. I don't know if they'll go back to the Open Challenge thing or if he'll do his own thing. But I think there's a lot of good wait and see spots good wait and see points that we've gotten throughout the matches in the event so far. So this is another positive for me in that particular regard. But the crowd being out of it really took me out of it by this point of the event. So I just wanted to say that as well.
Yeah, I totally understand that one. Yeah, the collision matches were much better than this one. And it feels like a failure for Daniel Garcia overall with this TNT title run. This TNT title run should have been a lot better for him. And unfortunately, it just didn't hit the mark here. But it was time for Kenny by God Omega on pay-per-view, defending the AEW International Championship against Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey. Ricochet immediately bailed to the outside, leaving Omega in there with Speedball. Omega got a roll-up and was sent to the floor into the commentary table. You always have to be careful with that, with the diverticulitis. We got Ricochet was sent outside, leaving Omega to hit a Hurricane Rana on Speedball. As Ricochet went one-on-one with Omega, he was trapped in an armbar. Bailey ramped up the Speedball kicks on Omega. Ricochet flew in but missed the dive, so Bailey was able to hit a dive on Omega on the outside. Ricochet sprung to the floor and got paintbrush back and forth by Bailey and Omega, who said bald, and just kept slapping him across the head. Omega wanted the "You Can't Escape" on Bailey, who in fact escaped, allowing Speedball to drape Omega over the barricade, hitting his ribs once again. Ricochet was able to cut off Speedball, who was looking for the moonsault double knees, and hits a rolling DVD on Bailey on top of Omega on the barricade. With Omega left to try to recover, Ricochet trash-talked the crowd as he put the boots to Speedball. While trying to keep Omega at bay, Ricochet wanted the Northern Lights into the Brainbuster, but Omega returned and hit a neckbreaker DDT combination with Ricochet standing tall. Tope Suicida took out both men on the outside by Ricochet before taking Shivani's headset and boasting about himself. This camera shot was the best of the matchup as Ricochet is bragging on commentary and Speedball flies in off screen and cracks Ricochet right with the kick. This was one of the best pictures of the whole entire show. This is just perfection. Yeah. Speedball politely apologized to Shivani, who I think dropped an F-bomb, popping Taz and Excalibur before hitting a missile dropkick back inside. We get Omega quickly back in. He hits the "You Can't Escape," but Bailey dodged the moonsault. Ricochet flew in and missed a lionsault, but he nearly got a double pin off a Bailey backslide attempt on Omega. Bailey, meanwhile, nearly got a pin attempt on a double crucifix pin. I think I've never seen that before. While Kenny got a double backslide for a 2 count. Everyone popped up only to get decked. We get double kicks by Ricochet and Speedball, and then high kicks to Speedball and Ricochet at the same time. This is awesome chance at that point. Everyone slugged it out to their feet as Ricochet kept being disregarded by Omega and Bailey, who fired off jabs as Ricochet tried to intervene, but Bailey hit a triangle moonsault to the floor. With Bailey and Ricochet down on the floor, Omega got the crowd hyped up, hits a Terminator dive on both men. Ricochet's turn as he hits a picture-perfect Flossberry flop. He went for a baseball slide, but Bailey got to the apron and hits a Acai moonsault onto both men. We get a miss PK and a moonsault as Ricochet and Omega were stacked up together, and Bailey hits a standing double knee, a moonsault double knees to both men. He clocked Omega with a time adventure, but Ricochet was able to pull referee Rick Knox's leg during the count. A pissed off Bailey went after Ricochet on the floor, beat him relentlessly. He went for the moonsault double knees on the apron, but Ricochet moves out the way and Speedball crushes his knees on the apron. Ricochet follows up with a chop block on Bailey, also on Rick Knox, who basically no-sold that though. Bailey comes back in. He hits a wild-looking poison Rana onto Ricochet after recovering. We get a pin attempt, but he went to Omega, who dropped the bottom out on Bailey and then starts hitting snapdragons on both men. He hits a double snapdragon at another point for a great spot that the crowd went wild for. We get V triggers to both men. Ricochet counters a one-wing angel attempt. He goes for the vertical, but Omega gets the cross wrath for a close near fall. Bailey dodged the one-ring angel and hits a high heel kick. He teased a callback to how him and Ricochet won the number one contenders matchup for a 2 count as Omega's able to kick out. Ricochet tumbles outside. We get a roundhouse kick, cracks Omega. Bailey hits the Adventure Time in the corner. He goes for the Ultimo weapon, but he screams out in pain when Omega moves out the way. We get a knee bar by Omega, but Ricochet breaks that up with a springboard 450. Omega cuts off a spirit gun, and Bailey hits a high stack for a 2 count. We get a roundhouse kick on Omega. Bailey goes to the top rope, but only to be shoved off by Ricochet, who hits a shooting star press on Omega for a 2 count. Ricochet begs off Bailey, paintbrushing the hell out of him, who caught him with a kick and then wrenched at the bad knee. He starts slamming the knee down into the mat. Bailey fought to his feet and then gets the fucking crane kick pose, which popped the hell out of me and the crowd. But Ricochet did not learn the lesson from the season finale of Cobra Kai. He runs right into it and he makes Daniel LaRusso proud to Speedball. He then hits the Ultimo weapon. It looks like it's over, but Omega flies in with the V trigger. He wants the one ring angel, but Ricochet broke it up with a poison rana on Omega. Ricochet goes for an avalanche vertical on Speedball, but Omega cuts him off. He hits an avalanche one wing angel. Bailey's knee cannot recover, so he falls backwards in a tree of woe, and he's unable to break up the cover as he just grabs at the leg. Omega gets the 1, 2, 3. This was an amazing 3-way matchup. This is one of the best 3-way matchups you will ever see. It was nonstop action. It was hard hitting. It was so intense. The crowd was molting hot throughout. This goes nearly 31 minutes, and every bit of it had innovation and creativity, from the 3-way spots, from the different sequences, from the great moments throughout. This is what Kenny Omega as a champion in AEW can offer. 5 stars. I can't give it anything less than 5 stars. What a start to 2025. Kenny Omega being back in pro wrestling has been a gift. Post-match, we get the gift that keeps on giving as Omega is recovering in the corner, and out comes the Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada. The two men have a brief stare down as Omega is the first to flinch as he walks to the back as they further tease their title unification match for All In Texas. Like I said, an incredible matchup. Speedball Mike Bailey showed the fuck out, stealing the show on this. Ricochet was such a glorious douchebag throughout this entire matchup. His character work has been A+ since turning heel, and Kenny Omega is the best bout machine, and what a year he's had so far. He still has the match of the year with him and Gabe Kidd, but his matches with the tag team match with Ospreay versus Fletcher and Takeshita was awesome. The matchup with Takeshita at Revolution was tremendous, and this right here, one of the, I think, the 4 best 3-ways I've ever seen. AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Unbreakable 2005, still the best ever. Triple Paul, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit from WrestleMania 20. The 3-way from Wrestle Dream last year with Takeshita, Ricochet, and Ospreay. And this right here, those are the 4 best 3-ways I've ever seen. Jay News, what did you think about this one?
I thought that this was the match of the night. 1, 2, Kenny Omega's return to professional wrestling is a necessity. Until he retires, I don't want to see an AEW event without Kenny Omega. That's the second point. Thirdly, Speedball Mike Bailey, my friend, I did not know you can sell water to a well, because goddamn, I believed every time you were clutching at the knee, the kicks, everything else in between. Speedball Mike Bailey, man, you can do no wrong in my eyes. I think they've put him in a good position in AEW to start, and he's only really 3 matches in. So hey, Speedball Mike Bailey doing the damn thing. And Ricochet, Ricochet. What can I say, man? They made this dude feel important from the minute he stepped foot in AEW, and he still feels important, and he's losing. You understand what I'm saying? And he's losing. So, that right there makes all the difference between his run in WWE and his run in AEW. He feels important, but yet he's losing. At the end of the day, this is all we wanted for him to feel important and for him to be able to showcase his freaking trade and skills. And we're getting that, man. This match was incredible. That spot to end the match could have gone so wrong in so many ways, but they're professionals. They were able to end it in the way that they did. And good on them, man. Good on them. Fantastic match. Can't say anything more than that. And hopefully we get bigger and better things. And the post-match, obviously, SP3, we talked about it on the preview. All we needed was the face-off. We didn't need any physicality. All we needed was the face-off. We got the face-off. Kenny walked to the back. We're going to get part 4. It's going to be glorious. All in.
Part 5.
Part 5. I'm sorry. It's going to be part 5. Absolutely. All in. We wait for the unification. We're going to get probably one of the best matches in wrestling history. And I'm here for it.
Professor Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, man, this was perfect, man. I loved the little things in this match, like Jay News was saying about Ricochet's character. He's really evolved in all the best ways possible. When you are an artist like a Ricochet or a Mercedes Moné, you are not gonna be happy with the scraps you are given. Even if you're getting paid millions of dollars, even if you're featured on TV, you want to be able to cook. And that's what Ricochet's doing. I didn't even notice this. This is my first time noticing this. But when Justin Roberts introduced Ricochet, he says, "Show some love for Ricochet." I thought that was pretty cool, man. That's like a Apollo Showtime at the Apollo type of thing. I thought that was awesome. Man, I thought everybody in this match did their thing. Man, this was I can't say enough good things about this match, and all I really can say after it is Reigns, Punk, and Rollins, y'all are up next, man. So I mean this is your 3-way has to follow this, man.
I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I want to put that on you.
I want to say one more thing. Shouts to Taz for telling Ricochet to sweep the leg on commentary while Mike Bailey had the crane kick up. We all know what that means at the end of the day. So that was. If people don't get Mike Bailey's character, it's like it's embedded. He's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't understand,
it's the Karate Kid. He is the Karate Kid.
He's the Karate Kid. Yeah, Bailey is. Shout out to him too.
All the characters worked so well together here. This was incredible matchup. One of the best matches of the year so far, for sure. And then there was the main event. For the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley defends against Swerve Strickland. Moxley had Marina Shafir in his corner. Strickland had Prince Nana in his corner. Strickland had a Static Shock theme with his entrance and his gear. Loved the video wall. Showed every room of Swerve's house being on fire, dating back to Hangman burning down his house last year. Referee Paul Turner holds up the briefcase like it's the actual AEW World Championship, which looks ridiculous, but it made me laugh. Moxley still has the scars from the spike spot from a couple of weeks ago. Commentary even brought it up that they thought these two would slug it out from the start, but instead we get some technical wrestling, which I don't think really fit after the beatdown that the Death Riders gave to Strickland on Dynamite this past week. We get Test of Strength was broken up by Moxley. Strickland flipped out of the corner and then sent Moxley to the floor after eating a pump kick. Moxley swung for the fences and sent Strickland crashing outside. Shafir literally stepped on Swerve, walking away before Moxley stomped his head on the steel steps. Moxley was trying his best to bust open Swerve by hitting him with forearms. He chucked Swerve over the commentary table and then started biting at his head as he was then he finally started bleeding. Moxley hits a paradigm shift on the ring steps before taking a victory lap back in the ring. Swerve was able to break up the count. Stalling power driver by Moxley gets a near fall. The fans were booing at Moxley as he flipped them off. Inside out suplex hit. Swerve called off Knox for checking on Moxley. Moxley again bit at the forehead as he dared Strickland to hit him harder. Swerve obliged and buckled the champion. Forearms turned to slaps as we get Moxley sinking a Kimura and a triangle at the same time. Swerve powered out and hits a big power bomb on Moxley. Then Swerve ramped up the strikes. He hits a delayed vertical suplex. Moxley tries for a choke, but Swerve is able to get out of it and gets a pin attempt. Moxley hits a cutter in midair on Swerve as he went for the rolling cutter. Then rolling flatliner, excuse me. Swerve countered a Death Rider into a vertebreaker attempt, but Moxley spun out of it, got the bulldog choke, and transitioned into a rear naked choke. Swerve was able to get out of it after getting to the ropes. He gets a rolling flatliner and then hits the house call for a near fall. He calls for another house call, then for a third one, but Moxley's able to turn him inside out on a lariat, but Swerve just gets up and hits him with the house call again. Shafir came into the ring with the briefcase and teased using it until Nana got in her face. Shafir knocks out Nana with the briefcase, but then Moxley goes for a cutter on Swerve, who pushes Shafir into the cutter and he hits it on Marina. Swerve dropped Moxley with a paradigm shift of his own before Moxley got control on the outside. He gets a ladder out and the two men climb it. It looks so dangerous, like something bad is about to happen here. Swerve is able to fight back against Moxley and hits a ridiculous looking swerve stomp off the ladder through the Spanish announce table. Swerve appeared to tweak his left knee in the process, which would become a factor later on in the matchup. So Moxley gets a steel chair after Marina Shafir recovered and threw it into him. He throws it at Swerve, who ducks, and referee Paul Turner takes it flush on the head. And then that's when all the shenanigans starts happening. Swerve hits a vertebreaker on Moxley. Hangman Adam Page comes out and gets on the apron after power walking to the ring, but he couldn't decide who he was going to hit the buckshot lariat on. He looks like he's aiming at Swerve, but then he looks at Moxley. Moxley looks like he's the right choice, but he wants his revenge on Swerve. This brings out the Death Riders, who attack Hangman, who sidestepped a Psycho knee from Yuta, who hits Claudio instead. He takes out Pac. He then drops Moxley with a dead eye and then takes out the rest of the Death Riders. They pull him from the ring, and then the Ops come out. They run out and they start brawling with the Death Riders as Hangman has been thrown into the steel steps. Swerve chucks a chair into Moxley's face with the referee still down. Then he goes up top. He hits the Swerve stomp. It looks like it's over, but Swerve's knee is too badly damaged and there's no referee. Just when it looks like Swerve's crawling over for the cover, the lights go out. When the lights come back on, it's the Young Bucks in the ring. They are holding Swerve by the arm. Swerve can't escape. They hit him with the BTE trigger. Moxley crawls over. He makes the cover. The crowd at this point are going apoplectic. They are booing this out the building as the Bucks are leaving. Moxley gets the 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley retains the AEW World Championship thanks to our EVPs, the Young Bucks. Hangman Adam Page stares down with Swerve as the show ends and Moxley's reign continues. I thought the match overall, I thought it was good, but man, does that finish ruin it for me. I would have gone as far as like 3.5, 3 3/4, but then that finish happened, and I gotta give it like 2 3/4 stars. The Moxley matches are becoming so overbooked, and it's so groan-inducing. It's like the worst of the N.W.A. It's the worst of the Bloodline Roman Reigns stuff. It's the worst of Planet Jared and TNA, and it just is so channel changing go away heat. It's not money drawing heat. It's not we want to see Moxley's reign end heat. It's heat on the booking because you had the easiest booking decision ever. Just have Hangman inadvertently help Swerve win the world title, which makes it sweeter when he wins the Owen Cup to verse Swerve in the All-In main event. No, not a lot of people. The majority of fans are over this Moxley reign. This has become too groan-inducing. It hasn't been good. It hasn't been good storytelling. The Young Bucks getting involved makes a lot of sense, especially when you realize that it was Swerve who beat them in Blood and Guts. He was leading Team AEW, but that would make more sense if that was the end of the Elite. If the Young Bucks had lost the tag team titles before Blood and Guts, and they lose Blood and Guts, and then they're off TV for a while, and then they come back and they screw over Swerve, aligning with the Death Riders. That makes more sense. But when you realize they were back, they were still there for 3 months. They seemed like they did not fuck with the Death Riders. They were deleting stuff. They can make sense of it with a good explanation on Dynamite. And yes, it is intriguing to find out what happened with the Young Bucks and why they did this. But man, it just leaves the whole pay-per-view with a bad taste in your mouth. Alex Pawlowski on Fightful Select said yesterday, it's like you gave me a full course meal. You gave me the main course was a steak. It was the most delicious steak I've ever tasted with the 3-way matchup. And then you gave me pig vomit for dessert. And that's how I'm left with the fucking match. With the whole fucking pay-per-view. J News, what did you think about this main event here?
Yeah, I'll be quick because I got a dip. I felt like the ending, like SP3 said earlier, and like he's just said right now, they can make sense of the story all they want on Dynamite and on Collision. The moment itself just didn't work necessarily to end the match. I thought the match was, to me, from a wrestling perspective, was quite interesting. They went way more different than what I thought they were going to do from an execution and style standpoint within the structure of the match. It was different, but I was fucking with it if I'm using a colloquial term. So that was one point I wanted to bring out. Secondarily, yeah, man, this is, if you watch enough New Japan Pro Wrestling, you would understand where I'm coming from. This is House of Torture-esque. I cannot dig this overbooking shit. I just can't do it anymore. And for all intents and purposes, like I said earlier in the pod, man, they tripled down on this, bro. They tripled down. They're forcing it down our throats. We're going to have to eat it. I'm not going to like it until they finish it. And that's that. My good people here in the chat, everywhere in the land, True Heel Heat. This has been your good brother Jay News. I got to dip because I got to go to work. So I'm out.
All
See
right,
you.
Thank you, brother.
Peace,
brother.
Yeah.
Professor Kris, what did you think about the main event?
This was fucking garbage, man. My biggest issue with, the only way TK can make this up to me is if on Wednesday they write this wrong real fast, and we both know they're not going to do that. I don't understand why he did this. I don't think the Young Bucks are an important enough team for a spot like this. They were gone for 6 months. Okay, whatever the fuck ever. This was stupid. This felt real self-important. Like you said, it felt very overbooked. It felt unnecessary. It was just like you made me sit through what seemed like 15 hours of a show to get to this, The 3-way woke me up. This really just let me down. I couldn't even really celebrate the Lakers winning the way I wanted to after this shit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can never have it all. That's just how I sum my life up. I can't have the Lakers win, and I can't have Swerve win. It's just not gonna happen. TK, you gotta do right by us. This Moxley heel turn, or this Moxley title run, I should say, has absolutely sucked. It has been garbage from the beginning. Not saying Moxley's garbage, but this title run, has not done him any favors. Get the belt off of him. Get rid of this stupid fucking story. Give us something we can enjoy. This is Vince McMahon booking of the 2010s, where you're not giving fans what they want. Stubborn as fuck, dumb as fuck, goofy as fuck. Yeah, it makes sense.
Like you literally had the opening to start your own promotion because Vince did this same type of shit of being stubborn and telling the fans, "I'm right, you're wrong." This is the same thing.
Yeah, it's Vince McMahon is the one that put the snip in the canvas, right? Where Tony Khan could just come in and rip through. He did that. And you're doing the exact same thing, man. I don't know what this is. I don't know if they're saving the belt for what's his name? Darby, who for some reason thinks climbing Mount Everest is more important than doing his job as a wrestler. Okay, that would be the wrong move. This belt needs to be on Swerve. It needed to be on him like months ago. Get your fucking head out your ass, TK. That's all I gotta say. Awful, awful stuff, man.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't. I can't condone this decision. It just doesn't. It makes sense. This is the key. Like, two things can be right. It does make sense with the Young Bucks because they Moxley said from the very beginning that you don't understand what's going on. There's someone pulling the string. So it could be that this was all the Young Bucks from the start because their takeover failed. So they had to make a deal with the devil. They made the deal with their arch nemesis since day one of AEW has been Jon Moxley. So it makes sense that you can say, oh, they've been a part of this. They've been pulling the strings, giving us control of things from within and stuff like that. You can make sense of this all you want. It just doesn't take away from the fact in the moment this sucked. It's not good. Yeah. It left everybody not pissed off with Moxley, not even pissed off with the Young Bucks. I'm pissed off at Tony Khan. That's who I'm most pissed off at.
Yeah. My only pissed offness at the Young Bucks would be if they actually thought they were important enough to put in that spot. Then I'd have a little bit of hate for them. But yeah, it all goes to Tony Khan at the end of the day. You can't slice it any other way. This was so shitty that I didn't even want to watch the scrum afterwards, man. And I'm usually always up for the scrums, man. Even if the ending of the show isn't exactly how I want it to be, I'll indulge the scrums. I didn't even fucking watch that shit because this was so fucking stupid. I didn't want to hear Tony Khan with his goofy ass fucking face try to explain this away. I was done. This was stupid, stupid, stupid.
We got a couple of super chat donations to read here. Dion Jenkins, thank you so much for the support. He says, say what you will about TK, the man's a #long gamer. He basically went la 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 la. I'm right, you're wrong. This is working. Our ratings is up. He said it on this post media score. He's like, our ratings is up because people are into Moxley and they want to see who's gonna dethrone him and bring back the AEW World Championship. No, that is not the reason. That is not the reason.
He reminds me of the Democratic Party. Learning the wrong fucking lessons. I'm writing a whole book on this shit, man. Tony Khan is learning the wrong lessons. You are not learning the right lessons. If you think, oh yeah, people are interested in this fucking Moxley shit, that is not true. That is not true. You can't use these bullshit metrics to try to make it true. This is stupid.
We got Dion Jenkins with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Dion. He says, buckle up, fellas. We're only in the third inning of this Mox line cinema.
Right. Shit, I don't even think it's the third ending. I think we're gonna get more. I think we're at ending one again. I hope I'm wrong. I hope and pray that I'm wrong. I hope that TK sees the response to this and understands how stupid it is. But he's a fucking petulant child sometimes, so I doubt it, man. It's wrestling. Wrestling booking is about ego. It's about getting revenge on people. It's about just stubborn booking for the sake of stubborn booking. It's been like this since I've been watching this shit, since I was born in 1981 and before that. This is just what wrestling is. It's petty as fuck. It's stupid as fuck when it's shit like this happens. This is wrestling at its worst.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, people, I saw Romeo and the gang. He's like, oh, it's Will Ospreay. It's the end game. There's no guarantee of that. There's no guarantee of that. The original plan was for Darby Allin to win. It was for Darby to win. So he could be going with his original plan. He cannot be pivoting at all. He doesn't know what the word pivot means, because nothing has screamed to pivot away from more than Mox as world champion and the Death Riders.
Right, yeah. And it just from the story that they've already been telling, Swerve makes the most sense, in my opinion. I could understand Ospreay getting it, but Swerve makes the most sense. I think it would make way more sense for Ospreay to take the belt off of Swerve instead of Moxley. Yeah. Moxley is, and I'm not trying to say Moxley is not important. He is. He is an anchor in that company. But he's wore thin, it's just the bloom is off the rose, and he needs to be in something fresh. It's just it's not hitting the way it used to hit.
It's really not. We got a super chat donation here from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the support. He says, what do you guys think was the bigger story? Swerve losing or Mox winning? This title reign is running on complete dead legs, and TK doesn't get it, SMH. It comes off as a very stubborn, pig-headed, frustrating, and tone-deaf decision. Like, right. I know there's people that support it. I know there's people that wanted Mox to win or thought that Mox was going to win last night. But we need to realize that this is not doing any good for AEW. This is just leaving people with a bad taste, and leaving people with a bad taste at the end of 4 straight pay-per-views is not good when you're number 2. And the fact that you literally have business metrics that tell you that people wanted Mox to lose the title. The ticket sales for All In Texas went up this week by 1,000. Swerve Strickland has been the top-rated, highest-rated segment on Dynamite this whole entire build to Dynasty, because people got excited, got behind Swerve. They wanted Swerve to dethrone Moxley, and you said, no, you're wrong. I'm right. We're keeping the title on Moxley, and we're going to All In.
Yeah, and it's what are we supposed to trust is the end game? To piggyback off of what you said, Sid. Like, what are we supposed to trust is the end game? Is the precedent you want to set is, yeah, you can go climb on Everest, risk death, and if you live, we'll give you a world title reign because that's gonna matter. And I guess, other people will climb Everest and see the AEW flag. I don't get it. I don't understand this shit. I do not get it. Swerve is a guy who puts his body on the line, who puts his reputation on the line when he capes for this company. He puts everything on the line, and you got your guys. You don't have to search for them. You got Ospreay, you got Hangman, you got Swerve, you got Omega. What the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry I'm getting on a rant, but this is just annoying.
No, it's because they literally, and they don't, and if you're gonna do this, don't tease the better result. The better result is Hangman inadvertently helping Swerve win the title. That writes itself. And I hate the fucking fans that are like, oh no, the fans were the ones who were saying that it was gonna be Swerve and Hangman in the All-In main event. No, these motherfuckers teased it on Dynamite. Yes. They've been teasing it with the ads. If you look at the All-In Texas ads, what's the final two faces that you see promoting All-In Texas? It's Hangman and then it's Swerve. So AEW pushed this agenda in our faces and then just said, nope, you don't have that. Nope.
Yeah, and then even with the Hangman Swerve, the other thing, Hangman should have inadvertently made Swerve the winner, but you could have set it up to where Hangman actually helps Swerve only because he wants to be the one to beat him and take everything from him. Something that is cohesive to the fucking story, man. I do not know what TK is doing, but again, this is wrestling booking. I've seen, Cowboy Bill Watts do this shit. I've seen Dusty do this shit. I've seen Vince do this shit. I've seen Eric Bischoff do this shit. This petty ass fucking booking. It needs to stop. It has been a cancer on the industry for decades, probably since the beginning of time, probably since the Gotch days, the Burn Gotch, all that shit. It's probably been like this forever, and we're just living through it now, and it's stupid and it sucks.
So disappointing. It's so disappointing. And Russell Scopes, this is not the solution. He says, could we possibly get Mox versus Swerve at Double or Nothing and still save a potential Swerve and Hangman for All-In? If they're gonna do that and Swerve wins at Double or Nothing, you should have done you should have had him win last night. You don't do it. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. It is quite obvious. This is the Young Bucks being back is setting up probably Anarchy in the Arena. They gotta do Anarchy in the Arena every fucking Double or Nothing, even though last year should have told you we need a year off from Anarchy in the Arena.
Right. And I think what needs to happen too is this is a break glass in case of emergency situation. If Tony Khan had any kind of brains in his head, he would just do the title change on Wednesday. He's not going to do that. But I think I'm not one of those people that think you should just do that kind of shit all the time. But this is not a well-received pay-per-view after that, man. It just ain't. You gotta face reality. You have to understand when you get some stuff wrong, and you got to right the wrong. It's really, really that simple.
Dion Jenkins with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Dion. You've been a big supporter for the stream today. He says, do y'all foresee the payoff being worth it? The only way the payoff is worth it is if they can recapture the magic that was what WWE did, because this is the same feeling a lot of WWE fans after Cody lost to Roman at WrestleMania 39, but they got hotter. They kept along. They were still behind Cody. They had The Rock come in and really amp things up to another level, but they ain't no Rock in AEW. They ain't no Rock.
Who's
they ain't no Rock?
Yeah, who's the Rock that's gonna come to AEW and lift up the ship? You know what I'm saying? WWE had a lot of X factors going for them, and Vince, and they also lucked out by having Vince McMahon become this pariah of the wrestling industry. Tony Khan isn't going to become that anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know what is there to make this worth it unless TK gets his head out of his ass. That's the only thing I can think of, man. I just don't know what you do after this. As far as I know what I would do, I just don't know if TK's brain is in that position. And if the people that listen to the scrum and attended the scrum are saying correct, this guy is dug into this bullshit.
Yeah, he believes this is working. He believes that he is right. we're all wrong. The vocal minority, the negative feedback that he's getting, he hears it, but he doesn't care. He's going to continue. He's in the weeds. He thinks that he is right about this, and he's going to follow through on it. And congratulations. If you sell out 40,000 seats at All in Texas, and of course the All in Texas crowd is going to be behind Will Ospreay if Will Ospreay, gets the win and beats Jon Moxley. But you literally have to sell out the 40,000. If you have anything less than 40,000, then this is not the right decision, in my opinion. Because and I know people are like, oh no, he can lose it at Double or Nothing. No, at this point, after last night, now he has to go into All In as the champion. You have to pay it off at the big show. You have to now.
Yeah, and Swerve has just been doing like a crazy media blitz too, like he is a commodity online. I saw him on Vlad TV. I saw him just all these different places getting like views. Swerve has adapted to the YouTube era very, very well. Not every, and I love Ospreay, but I just don't think he has the eyes on him that Swerve has on him. You can manufacture it to be that way, but I always think you got to go with the hot hand.
Yeah, this is Big Man Dose is actually right. If you after last night, if you drop it one pay-per-view before All In, then it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. Like the whole big payoff is to get to All In. If you're gonna do it, it has to be at All In at this point.
Right, yeah. I agree. I agree 100%, man.
Well, we've made it to the end of our review here. We've got out all of our frustration on this decision.
You know that you know that it was a bad booking decision when we do these shows and people are pouring in the super chats at the end to vent their frustration.
Absolutely. We did see Swerve saying F Booker after the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not gonna go in on that. We spend enough time talking about that on the flagship. Yeah, exactly. That's for the flagship podcast. But we've made it to the end of the final call for Super Chat donations. I appreciate y'all for all the support that y'all have given so far. But also in the chat, let us know your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Out of 10, what did you give the show as well? For me and Professor Kris for AEW Dynasty 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Thumbs up for me, thumbs in the middle for Professor Kris. Totally understand that. I'm going to give the show... Oh man, it's usually how you leave. I was like going back and forth between 7.5 and an 8. I think I might lean 7.5 because of how they left me. Kris, where you at?
Yeah, I have to give him a 5 on the dodge because you just left me really, really disheartened. I was very, very disappointed. I was looking forward to coming on this show today. And just having a Swerve party. I was already predicting that Swerve was going to have the most important title reign up there with Bret Hart's second title reign, because it was going to be a career-defining title reign. And TK let me down on so many fucking levels. Garbage. So I have to give it a 5. After feeling like that, and especially after that rant I just went on, I think I'd lose my credibility if I gave it anything more than a 5.
Fair. That is fair. Who was your match of the night?
All right, so I love the 3-way match. I really, really do, but I also love the match with Timeless Toni Storm. So I probably have to just be a lame and give it to both of them because I did like both of those matches. Those were my highlights of the show.
Yeah, my match of the night was Omega, Speedball, and Ricochet. That was one of the best matches of the year, a match of the year candidate. But yeah, Storm and Bayne was excellent. I thought the opener with Ospreay and Kevin Knight was spectacular. So a lot of great matches on this show for sure. My MVP for the show, I will probably give it to the new signings. I'll give it a co-MVP to Speedball, Mike Bailey, Megan Bayne, and Kevin Knight. I thought all the new signings that were on the show really showed out in their first AEW pay-per-view appearance.
Yeah,
MVP for the show.
Yeah, I probably give it to the new signings as well because, like especially Kevin Knight, because I didn't know he had all that in him, and it was just a great opening match, and it made me think the rest of the show was going to be fantastic. Man, was I wrong.
LVP for the show, it's easy. It's Tony Khan. Tony Khan. Back-to-back pay-per-views, I'm giving LVP to Tony Khan.
Yeah, for me, it's Tony Khan also. Amazon stop. I'm sorry about that. It's for me, it's Tony Khan. Because I think they've been hitting on all cylinders regardless. This was my first pay-per-view watching on Amazon Prime, and it was a very seamless watch. I didn't have any of the streaming issues that I used to get with pay-per-view.com or bleacherreport.com. So I do think a lot of good things are happening in AEW. Why you'd want to stain it with this stuff, I don't even, because I don't have to watch wrestling unless you say, hey, I need you, said on Saturday. I'm not watching this shit on Wednesday. I'll tape it or whatever, because I just can't put myself through this anymore from an emotional standpoint.
The emotional anguish they leave you with. But thank you, Professor Kris, for joining me today. Big shout outs to J News for joining us today. And big shouts to all of you. You guys have been awesome in the chat with the super chats, with all your comments, staying active in the chat. A bunch of people are giving MVP to Tony Storm. A bunch of people are giving LVP to Tony Khan. A couple of people are giving LVP to Jon Moxley. So all across the board, and a lot of picks for Matt.
Give it to Tony Khan.
Yeah, I'm not going to give this one to Moxley. This one, Moxley avoids it because it's more, I'm pissed off at the booker more than the people in the ring. But Professor Kris, thank you as always for joining me. I appreciate you, good brother. You'll be probably getting a call for the next AEW pay-per-view next month as well. But let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they might see you again.
All right, so just follow me at KMEZ Does It on Blue Sky. That's the same handle on Twitter. I'm not on there as much as I used to be. And then read my articles on Medium and on Substack. Just type Christopher Ely Substack on Google. Easy to find. And I got a book. I have a literary agent. And I got a book that is going to come out sometime this year or early next year, depending on what the agent says. I let her handle all that bullshit. But when that book comes out, I will be having a West Coast party, and I will be having an East Coast party to celebrate it. So I hope to see Sid and all my True Hill Heat people there. Man. So I'm a lot of great stuff happening this year with Nate and what we're doing with Nefarious Media Network, and I'm always loving being on True Hill Heat. So just follow your boy, man.
Yes, appreciate you as always, good sir. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best way to support us when we are not live here. I will be back live tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern time, with Rated Raw reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw from Minneapolis, Minnesota, with Romeo, as well as Top Guy JJ, so join us for that. We got a NJPW Windy City Riot review that's gonna a preview, excuse me, that's gonna be dropping on Wednesday here on the channel. AE Ramble, me and Jimmy Maccaram. If you want Jimmy's thoughts on everything that went down today and his favorites, the Young Bucks being back, join us live for that on Thursday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, I believe, we're going to be back with Dark Side of the Ring reviews for this season 6 of Dark Side of the Ring. So join us for that as well. And of course, Saturday, the flagship podcast where we'll give final thoughts from everybody, myself, True Josh, and Miss Chrissy Love on AEW Dynasty. But thank you so much. Oh, no, me and Josh, excuse me, not Chrissy Love. She's going to be off. She's on vacation starting on Friday. So it'll be me and Josh on Saturday. But for Professor Chris, for J News, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our AEW Dynasty 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.